Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. Hope you're all doing well. Hold on just a moment while I just wait up on YouTube and make sure we're all good, but let's go ahead and get started. Hope you guys are having a good day. So, just gonna be doing our daily shiny hunt session, really. I guess I say daily, but it's not every day. Anyway, you get the point what I'm trying to say. We're gonna do 200 encounters like normal. I'll do it until, I don't know, it's like nearly 1 right now, so I'm going to do it for another 2.5 hours until I get my 200 for the day done, then that'll be it. How's everyone's day going today? Hopefully somewhat good. Not really a whole lot to talk about for me right now. I was planning to go by Walmart and handle some stuff. I haven't had time to do it. I mentioned yesterday I was experiencing some problems with my hand where it's been hurting really badly, and I've been having like my fingers are locking up and stuff. It's complicated to explain. I think it might be carpal tunnel syndrome, and I hope it's not, but I honestly don't know, and I have like a prescription to go pick something up that I haven't got yet, so yeah, I'll let you guys know how that goes on the next session when I'm playing after I've got my little prescription or whatever picked up, and then I can take care of business, or at least hopefully pick up if they've got the thing I need. It's been a bit of a rough stream the last few days. As a result, my hand's been kind of feeling awful, just not very good. But whatever, let's not try to focus on that. How's everyone's day going? I've got a few things I want to talk about before I get like into any meaty subjects and like really talk about a whole lot. Like, we'll talk about a few things like maybe some like stuff for 2021. Also, some things that are on my mind. So, I guess the simple one is like, I'm curious, like, what's everyone want to see like stream-wise from 2021? If there's any suggestions anybody has, you don't have to if you don't have anything. Just like curious. I've been watching some stuff on Twitch, been like thinking about this for a little bit while I've been doing some stuff. I suggested a few things, like was it last month, this month? I don't remember when I suggested, but I suggested like doing a Pikmin 2 mod stream, and it could be down to do like some ROM hacks of Pikmin 2. I do more ROM hacks in general, do some more stuff that's a little more open. I want to play more games on the channel next year, if I even stream very much. I don't know, I might take a break actually. I feel like I've been streaming quite a lot and that I've been maybe going a little bit overboard compared to what I intended to. I was intending this to be like once a month or whatever, and ended up being more, not because I had intended it, but because of the fact that I didn't really like expect the shiny hunting I was doing to like do these little update streams or whatever you want to call them to be as long as they were. I went in this a little bit underprepared for longer streams, and I'll be honest, it was a mistake. I'm going to have like an update talking about that sometime in the near future, actually, alongside some other points, but we'll get to that when we get to it instead of talking about it like right away. It's a very, very big matter I want to discuss quite a bit. So, let's see. I was going to talk about like some Twitch streams. I watched some fun stuff, nothing crazy, but I watched somebody doing like something, well, I say yesterday, but it's today. I watched somebody doing something. It's just a Nuzlocke thing. They had a randomizer Nuzlocke, and it was where they were doing like, how do I describe this? It was a really, really weird mod that I saw, and basically it was like for Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, I think, and the idea was it's supposed to like evolve Pokemon every level, like not just into their like next form, but any Pokemon that can evolve them into whatever. Very, very interesting concept. It's by a streamer by the name Patter, so I was watching his stuff. It was pretty good. Ended up seeing some really funny moments where he got like unlucky, and then after he lost by getting his team in a battle, ended up trying to make a reclaim with like one of his few living Pokemon, only for or things to go to shit like immediately. You know, I've attempted Nuzlockes in the past, actually. I've been thinking of doing one on stream. I've never really bothered. I feel like I might try it in the future, though. I have enough urge to see about doing a Nuzlocke. Never streamed one, though. It's always been an idea I've liked. Unfortunately, things have not gone over great when I've tried them. I think the first time I attempted a Nuzlocke was on like a Mega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. I had Alpha Sapphire and I tried it, and I didn't really get too far because I wasn't really enjoying the remake very much. So I didn't really stick to it as a result. So ended up not playing through that game. I just didn't find it to be fun or worth the time, honestly. Second attempt was, I don't know how long ago. I guess it was like a year or two ago. I tried on like 3DS Virtual Console, and I tried to go ahead and like do and run on, I think it was Pokemon Silver or something. I don't remember exactly, but I had one of the Gen 2 games, and I was dedicating to doing like a Nuzlocke on it. I got fairly far, but I also eventually like had to stop because I wasn't getting like any proper progress for how things were going. I got like fairly far in and lost like quite a few Pokemon near like the end of the Nuzlocke, and I kind of discouraged me. I don't think I had like a game over or anything, but I had like a really bad scenario with like crits wiping out some of my party members, and I kind of just stopped because I was tired and gave up because I didn't feel like the Nuzlocke was going over well. So yeah, it didn't exactly end well. I'd like to try again Nuzlocke though at some point. Actually, speaking of Nuzlocke stuff, I've been looking into the whole thing for Smash, the World of Light Nuzlocke, for a little bit. I know there's like the thing where Alpharad did that, and then when he failed, he came back and did it this year. I've been thinking about doing something like that, actually. I don't know if I have interest in doing a World of Light Nuzlocke or not. It seems like a fun idea, though. I think I would have interest in doing one. It's like, I'd genuinely think it'd be a good idea, so I might do that in the future. We'll see, that'd be pretty fun. You know, I've never really tried any mods for Pokemon that I can think of, actually, either, so that might be a fun stream idea. I don't know. I remember watching, like, some videos that are, like, mod stuff on, like, Poketips. I think that channel is, like, inactive and maybe dying right now. I like it, but, I mean, I haven't seen the guy who runs it, like, upload anything, like, he's put some good videos out in the past that I watched. Like, he had one in Let's Go where it was, like, changed the game through, like, modding where every Pokemon was shiny just to see what it would look like, seeing, like, nothing but shiny Pokemon showing up on the screen. It was really, really neat and kind of cool to, like, see that, actually. Just not something you would expect, and something I find was really, really pretty to look at. I wonder if that would have, like, lag in, like, certain areas of the game, though. Especially, like, Viridian Forest, where too many Pokemon lags it. I wonder if the shiny effect had anything that'll lag the game. That'd be really lame. Speaking of Let's Go, I want to return to that at some point. I don't know when. I think right now, it's not going to happen immediately, but I'm feeling a little bit of burnout on Pokemon, so I think after I get done with, like, a few more shiny hunts, I say a few only because I want to grab, like, some things from some stuff I've already got resolved to do. But, like, I'm going to do, like, let's see, we got this hunt. I'm going to finish this. I want to do Regirock, and then I got 2 Dynamax Adventures I want to clear out for the sake of later. After that, we're going to be done streaming it for a little while and not playing anymore for some time. I think I've had a bit much of Pokemon lately. I will say this DLC, though, has been pretty good. I've been enjoying this Crown Tundra stuff, and I gotta admit, there's a lot of fun here outside of the stuff like this. I don't think going through and trying to do runaways and soft resets are necessarily my favorite aspect of Pokemon. I've never really been big on that stuff, and as much as I like this DLC, I don't like that aspect of Pokemon a whole lot. I mean, maybe if the shiny odds were easier and also I could get the shiny I wanted over time quicker rather than wasting time, but that's one thing that bothers me a lot. I never have gotten over that. I'm glad I haven't played it for shiny hunting like much as the older games. I think I attempted a little bit, but like I can't even imagine how bad it is going on 1 out of 8,000 and encounter shiny hunt and then like not ever getting anything and going like 3 or 4 times over odds on that because this is already like really rough and this is the shiny charm. I don't think the shiny charm was introduced until like Gen 5 either. I don't know. I like Pokemon somewhat, but I've be honest when I say I've found over like recent years I haven't loved it, and this game is not exactly a huge exception to that. I'll say the DLC's been something I found good, but the only exception I can think of is namely Pokemon Let's Go. It's weird how, like, out of all this, and I don't like most of the mainline stuff, I can say openly I'm perfectly fine with how, like, the spin-offs are for the most part. I don't think there's anything I can name that I hate about the Pokemon spin-offs. I mostly find that I enjoy playing the Pokemon spin-offs and that I find that they're fun, even though they might be a little bit of a waste of time. They're enjoyable. I found majority of the time when I mess around with the spin-offs, they're worth the effort to actually play, so yeah, I'd say I like the spin-offs. There's a lot of good ones in my opinion. I've mentioned them before. Pokemon Channel, which I think I want to do like a stream of at some point maybe. There's, I don't think I'd say it's good, this is a different one. Hey Pikachu. Pokemon Snap was great. The fact that it didn't get a new entry for so long is really a shame, and I'm glad they're finally making one. I wonder what Battle... See, I was gonna say Battle Revolution would be the thing I was gonna say. I mentioned a Stadium, excuse me, and I mixed up the names, but yeah, I wonder if Stadium would qualify as, like, spin-off by categorization, since it was technically just like a way to see your Pokemon in 3D and battle with them back in the day, rather than like a main game. It was like they always made, like, 3D game and 2D game until they got this in place or whatever, and they made 3D games for handhelds. Actually, come to think of it, there wasn't anything for like a 3D game for Gen 5. They didn't do like anything. There wasn't 3D in that game. They didn't make a stadium type game either. It was just they did the sprites, and then after that they did Gen 6 and they started on 3D. Like I say, the 3D in Pokemon has not been super strong. The graphics in Sword and Shield are not amazing, and also on top of that, like, X and Y looked like they had some low quality 3D. That's another thing I wouldn't mind talking about a little bit, actually, is like 3D in games. It's a very, very interesting subject we can get into in just a moment. Ugh, fuck, my hands are still bothering me a little bit. I'm gonna tough it out, though. It's not too bad, but I wanted to do this before I got busy with my day. I won't be streaming tomorrow, just an FYI, so I wanted to be able to get my encounters for the day done, and then after that, I can go down and spend my time getting what I need done, go to Walmart and grab that thing, and then enjoy the rest of it. If it was a normal day, yeah, we'd be streaming at like 2 o'clock or 3 or something, and I'd be happy to sit down and do things like that and talk, but whatever. I feel like right now I want to start early. Also, since I'm probably not going to stream tomorrow, and I think there's a 99% chance the answer is no, I will be doing something on, like, I think, see, what was it, on Friday, maybe, unless I'm misremembering? Like, on New Year's Eve, I have plans for something, actually, because it's on Thursday. I'm not really certain, though. Let me see. Yeah, on Thursday. Thursday is going to be interesting. If we don't have a shiny, which I hope we're done today, I don't think we're going to be, but if we do happen to be done on Thursday by that point, I might actually do something special. If we aren't, I will probably just do some more shiny hunting. I'd like to do like a neat little New Year's game though. I'm planning to do possibly 2 streams on New Year's Eve too, where I do something like maybe a little bit of shiny hunting, and then after I do like later in the day, I'll do like a proper stream where we stay up and wait until New Year's and do some games. That'd be fun for a little while, I think. I don't know what yet. I mean, I could probably find something pretty decent. You guys ever do anything for celebrating New Year's, for like just something to rain in the new year when it's around the corner? I always find myself like just staying up late to see the new year. That's really it for me. Don't really have anything super exciting planned. I mean, not like you can do much since you can't really go out. I know back in, well, I don't say back in season, like in New York, there was like a tradition of like going to Times Square and like waiting and counting down with everybody. That's something that I heard a lot of, but I don't live in that kind of area or a place where I could really do that anyway, and I wouldn't want to at this kind of situation. Let's go back to the Pokemon topic for just a second. Well, I say for a second, it's gonna be not that long at all, really, but whatever. I'm gonna say, like, let's see, what are some other good spin-offs? I mentioned trading card game. I like that. I hear Pokepark is good. I've never played it. I've played quite a few of the puzzle Pokemon games, and I don't love them. I don't have any interest in playing through Cafe Mix either. I've checked that out. Apparently, that game is, like, built for mobile, because if you play it on the Switch, it doesn't let you play in desktop mode, just in handheld. Doesn't look that good in my opinion. Whatever, though. There is one other, like, Pokemon spin-off I can think of. I can't think of any big ones, but one that I remember that I want to play. Probably on stream at some point. Hey, welcome back to the stream. Hope you're enjoying it. Just talking about whatever. Been talking about Pokemon spin-offs a little bit, talking a little bit about New Year's, and I was going to be doing some stuff before I have to go out to town and take care of a few things later, so I figured I'd start the stream early. So, actually, I was talking about spin-offs. I think I mentioned it yesterday a little bit, but I barely ever talk about Pokemon Ranger as far as I can remember. I think there's like maybe one other, like, oh, Mystery Dungeon. Those are both like big series that I think they had like activity on DS or 3DS, and those are Pokemon spin-offs I forgot about that are both really good. That's not the one I was going to mention that's like really cool. There's one Pokemon spin-off I really want to stream, actually, that I have never played. Maybe I'll stream it, I don't know. I remember like something back on the DS that came out called Pokemon Conquest. I remember looking that up. I don't remember what the game that it's based off of is, but like I want to play that at some point. I hear that Pokemon Conquest is really good. I'd like to look into it at some point. I think it would be a fun time to check out, see what it's like. Hey, welcome to stream, Wayne. Good to see you. Which is a stream late? No, the stream's only been going for like, let's see, not even 20 minutes yet. You're fine. I've barely been playing right now. In fact, we've started kind of early too, and I was planning to start earlier, but I wasn't ready, and I had some stuff I needed to focus on first, so couldn't get started. I'm talking about a few things like New Year's, and talked about Pokemon spin-offs a little bit. Let me see. Hey, Pokemon Conquest, it's Fire strategy RPG. That's interesting. I couldn't really tell what to think of it when I like saw it back in the day and saw like the stuff people put out of it. I've got to say, it looks pretty interesting, though. I don't think they've done any type of sequel game to it or anything, and I'd have a lot of interest in seeing how good it plays, so maybe I'll check out Pokemon Conquest on the stream one day if assuming things go back to normal right now, because all of 2021 is up in the air, and I don't want to keep doing things the way I was doing for the better part of this year, just because this whole thing where I've been streaming constantly after I said I was done is not how I intended this to go on. It was supposed to be me doing a little bit of like stuff to keep you guys in the loop while I did update stuff, and that turned into this shiny hunting that I wanted to do for some of these update streams, like being way longer than I thought it would. Also, I know I still have some serious depression issues to deal with, and I don't know if I can stream regularly the way I'm feeling right now. Actually, not throughout 2021 until things are back to normal. Hopefully things will get better. I don't know, honestly. It's rough talking about that still. I think I've covered most of the stuff I was talking about for Pokemon spin-offs. By the way, you guys planning anything for New Year's? Probably not, just checking. I think I've asked already, just being certain. How many people here have ever been to, like, New Year's parties, actually, out of curiosity? I've never been to a New Year's party. In fact, I don't go to parties in general. Personally, I don't really like parties. I'm the kind of person who likes to be, like, left alone and just able to do my own thing. I like having a bit of space and being able to just mind my own business and stay silent. You'd think that may not be the case since I'd stream, but I do actually enjoy streaming, but I like to be able to just mind my own business and do whatever and just, like, chill out when I'm not streaming or whatever. It just feels nice to have that option of, like, sitting back and not having to think about things too much. You're sick. Yeah, I know what you mean there. I'm not feeling the best myself. In fact, I had some allergy issues a little bit earlier, and right now, for some reason, I'm feeling a little bit of a headache. It's not very strong, but it didn't start until after I started streaming. Naturally, out of all the times it could pop up, it has to be in one of the worst times where I'm busy with streaming, so yeah, not a lot of fun. I don't like parties in general, though. I don't know how you guys feel about them. Parties are too noisy for me. I don't like being surrounded by a ton of people or bothered by anything. Usually just the atmosphere is too much for me, and I'd really just want to be left alone. I feel like most of the time I'd feel like I stick out and feel like I just don't belong anytime I'm at a party. Also, I've had like at least once where I remember talk to you guys about how I lived in San Antonio for a while, but like, yeah, I was in remember in that school there was a party that happened at least one point, and for like a graduation thing or something for some of the kids in the school, and they had a party going on like pretty much the whole night, and it was actually kind of awful because the noise was really, really out of control, and on top of that, my allergies were fucking driving me crazy, and I could not sleep, and I was feeling like shit. I remember that being an awful night. I had to borrow some like earplugs from a friend. It was bad having like a fucking shitty situation like that with like a snotty nose all the time, and like feeling like garbage and not being able to fucking do anything and not really wanting to hear the noise from the party either. I felt really bad the whole time, and hearing all that noise from the party did not make it any better. I don't even really see too much of the appeal from parties. It's most you can do is maybe talk to people and meet some new friends, I guess, but like in general, like I don't really like it. I may be alone in this. I don't think I'm alone in it, but one thing that's something that bothers me a lot, I cannot handle areas of like a large amount of talking, and I'm not great with like dealing with large groups of people anyway, but like whenever it comes to hearing like, excuse me, my throat is bothering me a little bit, and it's making my talking a little bit awkward right now. But yeah, like I was saying, like whenever there's a large group of people, it's awkward for me to talk. It's usually not only is it hard to try and convey what I want to say, but like usually it ends up being the kind of scenario where there's too many people, and then it's fucking noisy, and it's so bad that you can't really understand what the hell is being said. It's something not exclusive to a party either. It's like too many people start talking, and then if you try to listen and try to understand any... Whoops, that's not what I was trying to do. I want to get out of this battle. But yeah, if you try to listen, it ends up being a mess, and then you end up just hearing a bunch of gibberish and not really being able to make out anything anybody's saying. I don't know, there's probably a, like, term to describe this exactly, too, but it's something I've dealt with quite a bit, and I hate dealing with it. It's like, there's so much noise, and there's so much talking going on, that it's literally impossible to make out anything anybody's saying. If you're going to do good new people or a crowd of people, it's too much. Yeah, I can relate to that. I'm not really great at talking like new people. It's definitely the kind of thing where if I talk to somebody the first time, it's awkward. Until I get used to speaking to somebody on like more than one occasion, it can be really uncomfortable, like breaking the ice for the first time and getting used to talking to somebody I've never really met before. So yeah, that's something I don't really love about that kind of stuff, especially about parties. And then there's some people who will make it their mission to talk to you and bother you, and you're very clearly trying to avoid talking to people. It's not like they're exclusive to parties, but those kind of people tend to get under my skin really bad. It's like, if I don't want to talk, and you're like bothering me and continually trying to get me to talk to you, and I'm making it clear I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to talk to you, it's like, you're probably just going to end up pissing me off and making me upset more than anything. It's like, I'm not going to be cool with talking to you, and I'm trying to signal that, hey, I don't want to talk. And then I feel like parties tend to bring out these kind of people who don't seem to have enough sense to realize, and they're bothering somebody, and they should stop messing with them. It's like, not everybody wants to talk all the time, and there's definitely a lot of people who are chatterboxes out there who don't know how to shut up when they're being talked to, or like very clearly signaled that you're not in the mood to talk. Ugh. I don't think I'll ever really care about parties too much. I haven't tried going to a few parties. I don't like them going to them that much. Stuff. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's gonna be awkward too. People like talk, and you're very clearly not interested, and they won't stop. It's not like sometimes it's not really that big of a deal, because I think everybody is guilty of doing that every now and then, where you're talking, it's about something boring, you don't even realize it. But when you're talking, and like, it happens a lot of the time where you're like talking and everybody gets tired of hearing it. It's like, maybe you need a little bit of self-awareness in that regard if you're like talking just to talk and boring the shit out of everybody else that you're around. I don't know. I think I've had enough talk about parties, though. I don't think I'll ever really care for them too much. Let's see. I was talking about a lot of things. I talked about, like, some spin-off stuff like Pokemon spin-offs and whatnot for a little bit while I was playing this. Let's see. Another thing I was wanting to talk about, if I can remember... Oh, yeah, I mentioned, like, 3D games, like, and I mentioned, like, also I was talking about, like, how Pokemon has had, like, a less than graceful transition into getting, like, 3D. Like, I don't find it to be very good. I was gonna mention, like, talk about, like, talk about how, like, good 3D games, or good early 3D games. Let me see. You back gonna try to eat? Isn't your stomach? Okay, see, that seems like that's pretty rough. I have to deal with, like, stomach problems all day and not being able to eat properly. I've been having some stomach cramps throughout the day, and it's been rough. I don't have any medicine for it right now either, so... Been having a bit of a not-so-amazing day myself, honestly. It's not been terrible, but it's not been really great. It's just been kind of a pain in the ass. Also, I have a bad feeling this fucking shiny hunt is going to end up being ridiculously long. It's still going, and it's not too bad yet, but it's looking like it'll go over odds if this keeps up. We're not even at 1,000 yet. Let's see. Hold on just a second. Trying to think right now. Oh, my stomach's hurting. Actually, while I'm talking about this exact topic, actually, like, one thing that really bothers me, it's just a small thing. When you get sick, like, one thing I really hate is, like, when you get sick with, like, vomiting and you're feeling nauseous all day, and you have, like, a fever or whatever. Those days are the worst. You can't do fucking anything right. I mean, getting like a sore throat or whatever is pretty bad too, but like, I never feel good when it comes to being stuck with like a case of vomiting for the day. It end up being bedridden the whole day, feeling like trash and not being able to move around much. And then on top of that, your stomach is like completely just like all fucked up. And if you try to actually like do anything, then chances are you can make yourself puke. And usually on those kind of days, it's like you feel so bad you don't want to eat anything in the first place. You're too worried about upsetting your stomach and puking. That always feels awful putting up with that. I don't think there's like anything more worse than like being stuck with puking and then like not being able to eat for a day. It just feels uncomfortable the entire time. You get that awful feeling like you take too much food, it'll all come back up. And I'll be honest, even though I do like eating, the act of vomiting is so much worse than eating. Ugh, it does not feel good to vomit. Ugh. Man, I could probably recall a lot of shitty like stories from school or whatever if it came down to it, like where I've been sick on certain days. I don't think I want to talk about those stories right now, though. Ugh, being sick is not a fun experience, to say the least. I mean, at least I've had, I'm being honest, I don't know why, but like I've had a little better of luck as an adult. Like, I don't feel like I get sick as often. I feel like my immune system is doing its job, and I haven't had anything like super serious happen in quite some time that I can even remember, so I think everything's been working out for the most part, so I guess there's that. There's one thing to be grateful for. Hang on a second. Oh yeah, I was going to talk about some other stuff that I almost forgot about. One thing that was like a big newsworthy topic is like regarding these stimulus checks. I remember looking at Reddit, and supposedly like 2/3 of like the vote on these new checks was supposed to be approved for like moving them up to $2,000. I think it was like not finalized, and I don't remember, was it the Democrats or Republicans? I don't remember that stuff, and I'm not the type of person who keeps up with politics, but like one of the parties hasn't really voted on the whole, what's the right word? I don't know what you'd call it. It's just like they haven't voted on whether or not to actually increase the bill yet, and I have a bad feeling they're going to veto it, even though I don't really like Trump. I'll say, like, this is one of the better moves he's made, where he's trying to get this bill passed and try to get, like, 2,000 for everybody instead of just 600. That'd be incredibly useful. Backyard Indian food is good on a bad stomach. Hopefully that'll go well for you. I mean, that's good. I'm not exactly great about figuring out like what things to eat and not to eat when I'm not feeling great. I mean, obviously eating soup is usually considered okay, and can probably eat crackers too without too much trouble, but I'm not great at that kind of stuff. I'd usually just stick to whatever when I'm not feeling good because of that stuff. It's not a very fun feeling though, being stuck with not a lot of choices, and then you just gotta drink like Gatorade or whatever to keep yourself feeling better. Ugh. I'm so glad I haven't had to do a thing like that in a long time. Speaking of that, like, oh gosh, I feel bad, like, thinking of how many people are probably getting stuck with that fucking virus right now. I wonder how much longer it is until the vaccine's ready. I guess next month will be something to look forward to, at least. I'm really, really looking forward to getting that stimulus check in. Shit, this is too early. Give me a second. I'm looking forward to going out and spending it on some stuff and hopefully getting something good. I think I'm going to spend money on getting, like, a VR headset next month, maybe. Maybe, I don't know right now. I need to save some money, too. Sorry, give me a second. Like I said, I'm not feeling great, and also my commentary might be a little lacking. What's everyone's, like, what are some good early 3D games? We talked about this earlier. Obviously, we know about, like, a lot of the big ones, like Nintendo transitioning into 3D with a lot of their franchises, Mario, Zelda, I think Star Fox is like close to 3D when it first released, so not really a point where you can call that 3D, I feel like. What else was there, actually? Metroid had a really, really interesting transition, considering it went from, like, 2D to being an FPS with Metroid Prime. That was a really, really crazy point for 3D games. I mean, not that crazy, but still interesting. I know there were a lot, like, before this stuff, there were still, like, a few, like, 3D games, like FPS, but I feel like the rise from, like, a lot of games turning from 2D to 3D was a hell of a period, and probably something that's really worth talking about. I don't remember that stuff very well. I didn't have a lot of memory of it when I was younger. It was all just stuff that I think I was too young to actually pay attention to. I remember playing Mario 64, though, after playing, like, Mario 1, 2, and 3 on Mario All-Stars, and that was fun to see, like, how they transitioned to 3D, seeing how different it was playing in 3D. Let me see. You haven't eaten about 2 days? That sucks. I can understand how that feels. Ugh. It doesn't exactly feel good to sit there and not have any food. I've had well, not even like sick days. I've had problems like that too, but like, I've had days where there's been certain points where I've been feeling like incredibly sleepy, don't feel like I can do anything, and then I waste the day and find later as I'm, excuse me, fucking nasty feeling burp or whatever that came up and made a very, very uncomfortable and nasty, like, aftertaste come up in my mouth a second ago that did feel, it's like that feeling where it feels like your throat fucking regurgitates your food and it doesn't make you vomit, it just feels fucking nasty. It was bad. I didn't really enjoy that feeling. What was I? But yeah, I've had problems where I've slept sometimes and I don't end up eating anything because I end up, like, sleeping way longer than I expect to, and then by the time I'm, like, actually capable of eating something, it's like, oh, it's, like, fucking really late. It's like, instead of getting up and fixing food at, like, 3 a.m. or whatever, I might as well just fucking go back to bed and, like, try to sleep instead of fucking bothering to make anything for myself. I need to eat. Trying today? Yeah, I know what that's like. I've had that experience too, even, like, without it being afraid to eat because of sickness, but also, I remember at least one point, I don't even remember when, I just remember it being bad, but like, I remember there was at least one point where I was sick with, like, really bad nausea, and I remember that I would, like, eat something, and it was awful because I remember my stomach or whatever would keep causing me to puke food back up every time I ate it. I could not hold any food that I was trying to eat, and it was making me feel fucking gross trying to eat anything, and it made me not want to eat because it kept getting fucking vomited back up every time I tried to, and I had to, like, stop eating anything for the whole day. It was really, really awkward. I think I was at my grandparents' that time, too, and that was a bit of a nuisance because I had to argue with them, even though I wasn't feeling good, and tell them to stop giving me food because my grandmother, as nice as she is way too pushy and wanted me to eat something, and it's like, stop, please, I can't eat, I'm vomiting every time I eat anything. I don't want to eat more because I don't want to feel puke every time I eat. It's like, just let me be and don't try to give me any food. I'll be fine just sleeping the day. Sometimes it's better when you're feeling like that you don't eat anything and you just end up letting the day pass. Is it enjoyable? Fuck no. It means you're probably sick as shit, but I mean, helps not making yourself feel more miserable for no good reason. Oh man, being sick is never fun. I can only think of, like, so many times where I've had, like, days that have improved a little bit from that stuff, and it's not very often. Usually it's me being stuck in bed, lying around doing nothing. I'm trying to think what's one of the worst ones I've had. I think most of my memories of, like, sick days are for me having, like, shit, did I count this right? I'm not even sure. Shit, I'm not paying enough attention. I need to. Most of my sick days, some are from school or from, like, all just having a fever or whatever. I don't know if that's lucky or not, though. Ugh. Right, let's change the topic for a little bit. I don't want to talk about being sick too much. You can still talk about it, and I'm not really going to be upset. It's just that I don't want to... I've not been feeling amazing since I got up today. I don't know why, but I don't want to potentially cause myself to feel any worse off of the way I'm feeling right now, so I'm going to be careful about what I'm talking about. I almost feel like my body's reacting to the fact that I'm talking about sickness right now, and God knows I don't want that to cause anything. What were some good early 3D games, though? Like, that was an interesting period. If you go back and look that stuff up on YouTube, like, all these 3D games where devs were making stuff in 3D for the first time and toying around with ideas. Obviously, some came in, like, better form than others. I think Sonic the Hedgehog took, like, multiple games to get right before they got a 3D game that actually didn't suck. Wait, what? I thought I had more health. Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to go heal this time instead of waiting around because I just had my Pokemon die. Lovely. You guys remember that? I remember at least a little bit from, like, watching and playing a collection. Like, I was surprised. There's, like, Sonic Labyrinth thing, I think, and then Sonic 3D Blast or whatever, like, both 3D Sonic games, and neither one of them had very high reception. I think they were both, like, trashed for how unfun they were. I actually didn't play much of, like, old Sonic at all, actually. I've only played, like, so much of it. Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 are both really good. Those are some games I really like. Kind of funny, you know, like how back then and even now, like, Sonic has still had the same problem of being, like, varying in quality. There's not that many amazingly good Sonic games, just a handful out there that are good, and then quite a large quantity of bad Sonic games. You would think that Sega would have got, like, a working formula they would stick to by now, but nope. I wonder what the next project they're working on is. I don't think we've heard about a new Sonic game in a long time. I'm kind of concerned after looking at Sonic Forces, though. Sonic Forces was bad. So what's everyone... I'm curious, we talked about Sonic, and I want to talk about 3 games more still, but, like, what's everyone's favorite Sonic game? I'm interested to hear that. Like, what all you guys played that you really like out of the series? I guess, personally, since I got the most time out of it, it was the first one I really got into. Like, I played other Sonic games. I remember Sonic Adventure 2 Battle on GameCube was, like, the one game that really got me into Sonic, like, a whole bunch. I tried to play it on, like, family's, like, Sega systems. I don't think they had a Dreamcast, or maybe they did, and I don't remember, but I remember playing, like, Sonic 1 or 2 on, like, an old handheld Sega console for a little bit. I never got very good at it, though. Sonic Adventure 2 was, like, my gateway into playing Sonic games, and then from there I remember they re-released Sonic Adventure at some point, and I did like playing through that. Hang on a second, let me see. Let's change that. Yep. That screen looks odd. I'm guessing that's some... I don't know if that's, like, something that's a big problem, or... I guess, oh, you're talking about the app on the screen, I guess, or whatever. Okay, it looks... That's weird. I wonder what's the problem with that. It's very, very particular and odd that YouTube's glitching out. I've seen YouTube mobile, or just YouTube in general, like, not very... I see not work very well. Like, the video doesn't play correctly, or it looks funny and doesn't, like, actually, like, window correctly. There's, like, weird issues. I've had some issues, I think, on Chrome where, like, certain windows bleed together sometimes. Also, I've had points where I'll have tabs open and then stuff will freeze on Chrome, and I'm not actually sure if it's fixed. I haven't seen that, like, any time recently, I don't think, like, where all my videos get messed up and then the display on Chrome gets all fucked up. Never fun dealing with browser issues, though, and then waiting on the dev staff to update the browser and fix it. That's always irritating. I could talk about a lot of browser stuff I've dealt with in the past. I'm not even sure what my favorite is. Let's see. I mean, Internet Explorer was the basic on Windows for the longest time, considering it was like the default. I'd still never found Windows, say Internet Explorer, I mean, that's something to say, sorry. Internet Explorer was never that great in my opinion. Internet Explorer was always that bottom tier trash for your different browsers. Never really worked good. I've heard good things about Edge. I've never really used Edge very much, to be honest. I've used it a little bit out of, like, curiosity and to look things up, but it's not really something I have any interest in. And on top of that, I think there's better alternatives right now than using Edge, frankly. So, yeah, I don't know. I think most of my time has been on, probably, like, on Chrome, actually. Let me see. Video looks like shit. It's stretched and even on capture card in the late 2000s. It's got to be something on your end, probably, unless I can even, like, check it on my end. But I mean, let me see this on. I'm gonna see if I can get a look at it. This doesn't really look bad on my end. I mean, it's pretty much, it's stretched maybe a little bit. Web browser hands connection or device. I mean, nobody's ever said anything about it looking bad before, unless it really is like web browser handles it. I've had no complaints about it before, and whenever I look at it on my, like, OBS, it doesn't look unnatural. Sure, it had to be stretched a little bit, but it was stretched in a way where I was careful not to, like, make the quality look worse and to really just try and bleed all the black out of the screen so that it could be, like, a full picture. I mean, I think most people do something along those lines for trying to stream or do, like, video, so pretty natural looking. It's like, shit. Are you sure it's not just the device you're using? Like, I know I've seen you guys on the stream, and yesterday you were on, you didn't say anything about it looking crappy. You haven't changed anything, in fact. It looks the exact same from today as it does yesterday. Shit, I didn't hit go up to the stat sheet, it seems like I was trying to. There we go. Being a little bit finicky, though. Maybe tabs or something? I don't know, but I mean, I don't know why you're calling it shit, unless it really is. It's not really something I've heard anybody else complain about. In fact, nobody ever says anything, and on fact, I mean, yeah, I've never really had any issues. There's the screen, as far as I can tell, nobody says anything, and besides that, I mean, if you've ever looked at this game and looked at, like, the textures and whatnot, I mean, I'll be honest that this game has, like, textures that look like they came out of a fucking early 2000s 3D game instead of, like, a HD game from 2020, so I think part of the low-quality picture isn't the fact that there's something wrong with my capture card. The fact this game naturally looks crap because the fact that graphics are bad, since Game Freak fucking does not optimize their graphics well at all. I genuinely feel like the big part of it is just, yeah, Game Freak doesn't know how to do very good HD graphic design. It's natural, everything would look really fucking weird and probably not very good. I don't know. I mean, everybody made fun of the graphics before the game got released, and for good reason. Especially when you look up that fucking tree model where it looks like really atrocious. Hey, Zachary. Good to see you. Welcome to the stream. I can't do anything about it then, I guess, even if it is. I don't know, it probably doesn't look that bad, but I've never had any complaints about the way the streams looked before this, and on top of this, I have not changed a thing since the first time I've been streaming. It's been the same exact settings for how the video looks, so it may just very well be something on YouTube's end or the browser end or whatever. Also, I know encoding on YouTube is another fucking problem for picture quality. There's like the wrong settings or lag on a stream sometimes. It doesn't matter what you use, and it just fucking looks terrible. That's something I don't like either. Ugh. Probably enough to talk about that particular subject, though. I don't know, if it ends up looking bad and people complain, I'll see what's wrong with the picture if there's a serious issue, but looking at it on both YouTube and I check it myself and on OBS, I don't see anything. Let's see, what were we talking about again? Like Sonic, and talked about 3D games as well, actually. There were a lot of old 3D games. How many of you guys remember, like, back on, let's see, I think it was like N64 or PlayStation, I don't remember. Apparently there was some game called, like, Croc that was, like, made back in the N64 days. Like, I remember a story that I heard, actually, where, excuse me, my stomach is bothering me again, sorry. But yeah, apparently, like, Mario 64 was, like, mostly helped out with, like, Argonaut staff, and apparently that, like, they made, like, a tech demo or whatever with, like, Yoshi in it, showcasing, like, similar graphics to Mario 64, and then after Nintendo took their work and, like, fired them, they made this Croc game, basically what they were trying to make with Yoshi in 3D. Really, really weird story, and I hear people talk about how the game had, like, tons of potential and ended up failing. It was also, like, what was intended to be, like, the original Mario 64, it seems like. Really interesting read-up, actually. Something I found was pretty fascinating to check out, actually. They make streams on Twitch, because YouTube make the streams like shit. I'm pretty sure that's accurate. I'm not entirely certain when I, like, watched, like, on people's stuff. Like, yeah, YouTube seems to compress the video, and I think Twitch might compress, but probably less than YouTube does. I think YouTube compression is, like, really bad and actually harms the video, whereas Twitch compression is not good, but it's not terrible either. It doesn't, like, completely ruin the look of the stream the way YouTube does, whereas YouTube wants you to follow, like, specific codecs and other bullshit that you have to put up with, and if you don't have perfect frame rate, then YouTube starts complaining and makes the stream laggier, I've noticed, since it goes on about connection problems, like, all the fucking time. Played Croc on PS1. A shitty game. I'm not surprised about that. It does not look like a very good game overall. There's a lot of stuff on, like, 3D that I was talking about that are, like, really, really interesting games that came out back on, like, the N64 days, actually. Like, for starters, like, I think most people would probably remember this to an extent, but I don't know how well, because it's probably a little more on the obscure side. Glover was a fucking weird-ass 3D game, and I'm pretty sure that was a, like, basis of, like, people making their first big 3D games and trying to experiment with, like, their 3D and see what they could do with it. That game was painful, but it had potential to be, like, much better than what it turned out. Like, Glover was... every time I think about Glover, it makes me feel like the game had, like, way more potential to be something cool, and instead they squandered it on a weird, gimmicky game that didn't really happen to play the best. Like, the idea of you carrying a ball to the end of every level, and then trying carefully not to break it was, like... It's a very, very interesting concept, and a pretty good concept, but it's executed so poorly, and it's so unfun that it takes away, like, a lot of the game's actual value. Actually, I've been thinking about streaming that at some point. I know the parent company that owns the rights to Glover has actually, like, expressed interest in re-releasing it and, like, making a Glover 2, like, full version now so that they can release that maybe next year. I'm not sure. I might actually do a stream or two of that game. I don't know if I can handle, like, an entire fucking full playthrough of it, but it would be kind of interesting to go back and replay Glover once on stream, see how that game held up. Glover was a fucking weird game, I'm not gonna lie. That game was bizarre. Also, the plot line made no fucking sense. The whole thing with the wizard, and then, oops, I accidentally dropped this glove into, like, a fucking cauldron he's working on, and for some reason his glove turned evil and came to life. It's like, what is the story even? It makes no sense. It's just really bizarre. Then I guess a game where you're playing as a fucking talking glove of like collecting a bunch of rubber balls shouldn't exactly be expected to have a good storyline in the first place. Let's see, what else were some good ones? Or maybe not good, but like there were some like interesting ones back in the day that were worth checking out. Like I think I played Chameleon Twist. I enjoyed that a bit. It wasn't an amazing game. I liked the platforming in it and the whole swinging around on stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. Chameleon Twist was weird and had a good platforming. I liked how it was like focused on jumping a lot and actually made you test your like platforming skills. I haven't played that in so long though. Would be pretty cool to see like a revival or go back and replay it, honestly, and see what it was like. It's been a long time. That one was another really weird or interesting game. It seems like everybody back in that era was like trying to create a new cool 3D game to trump every other developer out there. Like there were so many people who were putting their feet in for like trying to make a 3D game for the first time. For a platformer game on the PS1. Crash Spyro's Rayman. Tron Legends Origin. Trumpet Level as a kid. I think I played Rayman, like, not in the whole lot. I played, like, Rayman 1 or Rayman 3 or something like that on, like, a 3DS or whatever, and I remember that I didn't really get very far with it and ended up not playing it too much because I was too confused by how the game worked. It was a pretty decent game from what I could tell, but I didn't really have the capacity or care for it as a kid to actually sit down and play it properly, and maybe I should have. It seemed like it was a decent game. I played like a bit of the 2D ones, but I don't really care like a whole lot about Rayman because I've never really touched the series too much, but I do find what I played of them to be alright, though. Pretty decent game series. Really weird how Rayman kind of like went through a phase of being like really popular, and then they fucking got popularity with like the Rabbids shit, and they just kind of completely fucking abandoned Rayman and let it fucking die off, kind of. It's like, I don't know, it's really weird how they seemed they were quick to get rid of Rayman when it wasn't really beneficial to them anymore. Now Rabbids are kind of in that spot where they're not that popular anymore, and Rayman's made a bit of a comeback. I don't know if they're going to do any more with it, since the dev from Rayman, like the guy who was making it, kind of got fired from what I understand. I think I heard about like complaints of him being abusive to employees, so don't know what the series of Rayman holds, but probably not a good thing considering how like things went to shit all of a sudden. Also, I think I need a really quick BRB break. I wasn't expecting it, but I'm finding that I need to go to the bathroom kind of bad right now, so I need to take like 5 minutes at most and go use the bathroom, take a short break, and I'll be right back. I just need a little bit. I'll see you guys in a few. Let me put BRB on my screen and I'll be back in a little bit. See you guys very soon. I'm back. Sorry about that. Give me a second or two. Make sure I pull down all the stuff I had up for BRB, and I think we're good to continue. Yeah, looks like it. I wasn't expecting I would need to go to the bathroom on the stream that quickly. I need to take a BRB, but yeah, it's not something I'm going to ignore when I need to go to do, so yeah. Anyway, let's continue talking. How are you guys doing? Hopefully chat's still working fine. Can't really tell. I don't know if the view count's glitched or not. But yeah, let's see. What I miss on messages? Give me a moment or two, actually. Is it Raymond or something? Any mainline platformer game? The Rabbids were like... I remember they were like introduced like midway through. Like I think Rayman 3 or Rayman 4 or something. They were going to make like another Rayman game. And they made the Rabbids stuff. And then... and everybody got really upset with it because they expected a proper Rayman game, and they got Rabbids that were like weird party games. I think I was expecting like a 3D game, and they didn't get that at all. It's interesting because I remember like looking at like some footage, and apparently like the DS, I think it was the DS. It might have been the Game Boy. And so like they had another version of Rayman Raving Rabbids, and they made it where it was like a proper like platforming game, like how Rayman normally was, instead of like an actual like mini game collection like the main ones were. It's interesting that they actually like thought out enough to like make a proper one closer to like the main series games, as well as their mini game collection. Open mini game. You only played 3 PS1 Legends. I'm surprised you've never played like Rayman Raving Rabbids. Actually, I wouldn't mind streaming that at some point. I know people complain about the Rabbids games because they're repetitive. They do the same shit. They have the same humor that's like senselessly shoved down the player's throat like over and over again. It's just really dumb. Like it's almost always them basing their comedy at the fact the Rabbids scream a lot. It like I'll be honest, when it was the first game and like even the second game to an extent, like the first few Rabbids games were actually okay. Like the joke wasn't old at that point, and they'd only used it a little bit. The humor was dumb as shit, but it was also to the point where it was not that bad. It wasn't incredible or anything, but I didn't hate what I played out of it. The mini games were stupid enough. They had some very, very good humor in them, and I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it, but something about hearing the Rabbids scream was actually funny back in the day. But that was before they took it way too far and they started fucking playing it all the time and like wore off the effect by effectively placing the fucking clips all over the internet. It's like they beat the joke into the fucking ground and made it unfunny. It was still pretty good for a long time, though. Maybe one day I'll play those. Those were a weird time, though, since they took away from Rayman's popularity, but, like, they also had, like, a fairly decent gameplay. Some of them were pretty bad, though. You know, Mario X Rabbids. Hey, game. It's like XCOM. I mean, I don't know that many people actually hate Mario X Rabbids, although, to be frank, I think it's more people hate the Rabbids in general, and they were expecting a game with like Mario and the Rabbids doing them to be just a bad choice because of the fact the Rabbids are usually not great. A lot of people find the Rabbids to be literally just like a shit character design and like waste of Ubisoft's time and money to make games for, and they continue doing it anyway, even though they had like a lot of people who didn't want to see more of it. Honestly, I think I'll probably still hold the first two titles up in like a decent regard even later in the future. When it comes to both those, actually, I think I like the second game quite a bit, maybe even more than the first game a little bit, because I remember Rayman Raving's Rabbids 2 or whatever, yeah, that had like a good focus where they had like a lot of different theme shit, and they had like a thing where you could play like a almost first-person mode with a stupid little plunger gun, and you'd play and you'd shoot the Rabbids with the gun, and all the different areas they gave you to explore were like based on like movies or like, say, TV shows or franchises, and they made some really, really interesting like levels based around this concept. Like one of them you literally played, I don't know if it was like a city or a sewer or what, I can't remember, but you played in an area and you had like rabbits showing up that were dressed up like the TMNT, and they would try to cut you off, and then you just fucking, just like any other part of the game, you'd shoot them with a plunger and fucking knock them over. It was dumb, but it had like just enough nuance to it that the fucking stupid jokes actually worked instead of falling on their face. But yeah, I mean, speaking about rabbits in general, it's not surprising they didn't really continue. They honestly, like, ended up just getting fucking shit canned because they were, like, getting old and nobody wanted to keep hearing the same jokes and everybody got sick of it after so much time. Can't really say I blame them, honestly. I don't know if we're going to get any more stuff with them in them, but I mean, haven't seen anything from Ubisoft with them in a long time. Let's see. The Rabbids. There's a Nick show spinoff. Yeah, I don't hear a lot of people talking about it myself because I think the series has died down. It was much more popular before this point, and I feel like they kind of went too hard on the popularity trying to get people to pay attention to it. Let me see. Like, Penguins of Madagascar, they do dumb stuff and have, like, stupid pranks. Felt very similar. Yeah, Nickelodeon has a bad habit of making shows that are very similar like that, where it's just really stupid, like, focused on pranks or whatever, and the humor is childish and not very funny. It's, like, maybe made to get, like, a cheap laugh out of it, and then once they achieve that effect, the show kind of loses all of its actual interesting... Oops, shit, wasn't paying enough attention. The show loses all of its interesting bits, and it's no longer worth watching too much. The Rabbids show, from what I saw, was, like, fairly like that. I don't remember it being very good. I remember, like, one of the episodes I saw of the show was really stupid. Like, they were in a drive-thru trying to order shit from, like, a restaurant, and the whole joke of the fucking episode was the fact that the Rabbids don't speak normally, and the fact they, like, scream and, like, their speech sounds like gibberish, and they were making fun of the fact the Rabbids speak weirdly, and nobody in the drive-thru was able to understand them, and they got, like, really angry and, like, screamed in the drive-thru speakers. It was just a bunch of really stupid shit. It didn't really have any actual funny humor to it. It was actually kind of really embarrassing to even watch in the first place. It wasn't very good. That's not the only show I can think of where they did like, something similar to that, where they've done some really stupid shit. I remember another show they made, well, I remember what the hell it's called, like, something Chum Chum, like, whatever. It's like some show with, like, these kids that dressed up like superheroes, and the humor was very similar to what the fuck... Oh yeah, Chum Chum and Fanboy, or where the fuck it was called. Like, the humor in that was, like, really, really goddamn bad. It was fucking absolutely just stupid and not funny at all. Don't talk and act dumb. I mean, that's pretty much how the show works. They don't really do much besides being stupid, as far as I can tell. That wasn't really that interesting. Wasn't a very good TV show from what I recall. It was kind of just bad in my recollection of it. I genuinely wonder if YouTube even knows... Not YouTube, I mean, like, Nickelodeon knows what they're doing anymore with their shows. My throat's bothering me. I don't know why. It feels like I'd swallowed something I wasn't too. Something's, like, rubbing against my throat right now. Get that fucking nasty feeling from, like, accidentally swallowing, like, eraser shavings from a pencil. It felt like that for some reason. Ugh. The Penguins. Yeah, there were a lot of shows like that on Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon's had, like, a track record of making bad decisions. Like, they tried to make a Sheen spinoff for Jimmy Neutron and ended up failing miserably because nobody cared for it, and they found the humor in it to be really bad. Another thing they did, if I can remember, what else was there? That was one of the ones I remember being bad. I remember something about them and, like, making a supposed SpongeBob spinoff about Patrick, and it's like on a like talk show or whatever, and I don't even know what happened with that because I haven't heard any of that or seen any of it, and I'm assuming they canceled their idea to try and actually make that. I don't know. Let me see what's going on here in the chat. Give me a second. Heard that YouTube a couple of years on to Nickelodeon Studios. That's interesting. I don't know why anybody would want to get Nickelodeon, considering Nickelodeon's the kind of company who has mostly low quality shows on them. They're not really that great anymore. it really has turned into them holding SpongeBob as their main show because they don't know how to make another good show. Like I said yesterday, they've run out of steam, and it's very, very clear they don't know what they're doing. Oh, gosh. It makes me depressed a little bit to think about that when there are so many good moments where they had like a lot of decent shows and like other networks were good. Now there's not really anything I can think of that does like decent TV shows. Not that I even watch TV anymore. Like, I'm under the impression that TV is dying out. I don't see many people using it anymore, and streaming and like watching stuff online is just easier, honestly. I wonder if we're even gonna have TV in like another 20 years. Like, I know it's like it's getting bigger, but like I think there's probably like millions of people on that planet that still have TVs and use them, whereas internet, even though it's grown more popular, still doesn't have the same kind of user base as the like TV owners. And America, or any state really, TV is a pretty common household appliance. Let me see what's going on here. Let's have YouTube premium shows and more content for that. Maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of interesting stuff that goes on YouTube. I've never really cared about the premium stuff. It's alright sounding, I guess, but why would I pay $5 or whatever to block ads if I can choose an ad blocker? And don't really care. The exclusive shows don't really appeal to me that much. I don't really give two shits about them, and I find the YouTube premium thing is like not really that great of a value. Like, the offer they give you is kind of to be honest, but whatever. I don't know how it compares to like subscription services, but I doubt it's actually that good. Speaking of subscription services, I've been thinking of like signing up for something like in another month actually on this, but not like for streaming. I can talk about it in a second. It's something that's like just a certain little thing you can do for get sent something every month actually. Hold on a second. Alright, continue talking. And simulating the restaurant. This is own cable TV and still make millions. I guess that makes sense. I don't know. It's weird to think about how this whole really small but still relevant war of like the internet versus TV for who gets more usage is still going on at this point. I genuinely feel like it wouldn't be impossible for the internet to completely just fucking go higher in usage and end up replacing TV just because of the fact it's easier to use, and it cuts down on the cost of bills by only needing internet instead of needing internet and TV both. Just my 2 cents on it, though. Let's see, what else was I talking about? That's something I was meaning to bring up and I forgot now. Not that it matters. Oh yeah, I was talking about subscription services. It's what I was looking at was something like a thing similar to how Loot Crate works. Not quite the same. I don't know if you guys ever done anything like a subscribe to a service where you get like that kind of thing. You get like goods every month. I've been thinking of like looking at a certain service that I have interest in. I don't know if it's actually worth it or not, but there's one that I've seen on a stream that somebody's talked about called Snack Crate. They send like little snacks or like candy or whatever. They send you like things from other countries, like little assorted snacks that you can try out, and you get like a whole bunch of stuff that you can and like eat when you get it. I found that idea to be really cool, and frankly, it's like a little bit of like something cool like candy you're getting that you can see that you've never really had before from like different countries or whatever. Like, that seems like it's a decent worth for like subscribing to the service and just using it to get like some snack food every month, even if it's maybe a little costly. As long as it's not too much, it'd be cool just to have the little possibility of getting something new, trying something cool every month rather than just buying whatever you're used to. Plus, there's some really good snacks out there if you look into like different cultured treats and like stuff people make. I don't really know much about that stuff though, to be honest. I just know about like certain flavors of like drinks or candies being made in like one area and they never get released anywhere else. Let me see. And other features like background playing a video game or song. Things like that. Yeah, I'm not surprised. That's probably something that's fairly common for internet. It's probably another way to get things more popular for that is using cell phones. Cell phones are like another big thing for the internet. It's easy to use, and it's more easy to pick up a cell phone now than ever to get internet on it and get all your basic necessities you'd even need on a computer and use it. It makes me think, yeah, maybe TVs are being phased out. Cell phones are very much popular now. Oh, great. Of course, when I try to run away, I'm getting blocked off again. I can't get out of here. Right when I just want to fucking run. Okay, thank you, game. Where was I? Loot Crate went bankrupt already. Dr. Rising. Just want to say, hold on a second. The money didn't really add up, just a waste. Yeah, I've seen that from Loot Crate. Their offerings are not the best. I feel like subscribing for a bunch of stuff that it's like just random goods that don't be that great. It's like, yeah, probably not really worth the price of paying for it. The snack crate thing has my attention because it's like pay for cool snacks and maybe try out some new stuff, and you don't have to like put any actual attention into what's going on with it. Just like see what kind of stuff you get for it, check the price out, and it seems like a good deal. Loot Crate was always kind of as a concept, though. I remember a story about some of their merchandise being sent out, and like one thing was like they sent like a bundle at one point. It had like a whole bunch of things. They had like a oven mitt from like a game or something where they printed like a design on it, and somebody tried to use it to like get something out of their oven. Fucking ended up burning their hand like using the oven mitt they sent at like for part of the little things they were sending you that you're supposed to get in the Loot Crate, and it's like, yeah, I would probably lose trust in them too after something like that. It's like you make something supposed to be an oven mitt, and then it doesn't actually work, and somebody goes to use it, and they fucking burn their hand because your shitty oven mitt doesn't work as advertised. It's like, yeah, that's not cool. That's kind of a really shit thing to happen, and I feel bad for whoever had to experience that. Like, what I remember looking at from Loot Crate, it was mostly a bunch of low-quality junk anyway, and it's like the kind of stuff that it's like, yeah, it's cool to get some of this stuff, but if I'm paying too much money and I'm getting a bunch of cheap garbage, then it's not really worth buying it. It's like, I don't really think I ever had any huge interest in Loot Crate. Can't really blame people for wising up and not buying from it. I feel like the idea is good in concept, but the idea of like opening a box and then getting a random assortment of junk and you don't know what all you're actually going to get can actually be like a really, really bad thing to subscribe to. So yeah, I think the idea of Loot Crate not being in business is not a bad thing. They did not have a great selling point. Hold on a second. Take care of something really quick before we continue. I don't know, it depends on what you're looking at. Some services like that aren't too bad. I haven't heard of like very many. I think on like online services I hear about like I'd seen online like a mention of that whole Dollar Shave Club thing or whatever like quite a bit on YouTube. It's been less so over recent years, but I'm surprised something like that got like a lot of attention. Not bad, just a very, very strange thing to see on advertising. Actually, seems like out of the recent years too, like there's a lot of the same ads getting perpetuated, and not the same, like not new stuff in like YouTube ads. Every time you hear a sponsored video now, it's like, oh, here, you should try out this Raid Shadow Legends game, and it's like, no, nobody has interest in this game. No matter who I will like advertise it, I'm not going to look at it. Most people are going to find it to not be very worthwhile, frankly. Let me see. They're more better off in your opinion? Yeah, I don't blame you on that one. I feel like the food thing actually has like a feasible purpose that actually makes sense, whereas Loot Crate is like, yeah, not really that great of a thing in all honesty. It's not really something that's worth it. Tough to say. I've seen more ads recently than I've wanted to, thanks to Twitch and their fucking attempts to get rid of people who are using ad block. So I've seen more annoying, aggressive ads on Twitch lately. A lot of those are fucking really obnoxious too, and not really all that funny. Most of them are really stupid. I don't know, actually, when I think about this, because there's a lot of annoying ads. Maybe, like, I don't find the Geico ads to be very bad. Like, ones that just get straight to the point and make things really interesting seem to be pretty good. I haven't really seen too many game commercials very often, like you mentioned. I've seen a few that look good, but yeah, I don't see many. Some of the food ones are alright, too. Like, I remember seeing a Tostino's ad, and it was actually not that bad for how it was set up, and even though I don't like it, the thing I see on, like, Twitch with, like, ads, the whole McDonald's Christmas ad offering, like, all these different deals you can get for different stuff, it's like, those seem like decent, like, ads. They show you a bunch of stuff you can get that you can check out, rather than it being like a small thing where they're seeing advertising like free shipping, or not shipping, it's seeing free like delivery on like a service or whatever. Those kind of things are actually somewhat informative and actually feel like they have a purpose to them. Yeah, Girlbox anime streams. I think I can get onto the site at all. That's lame. I've never actually heard of that egg roll box thing. All I can think of is Crunchyroll. I don't like when companies do that. It's not a big deal, but it's like, I hate the fact there's a lot of like sites out there that if you have a fucking ad block on whatsoever, they end up trying to block it and trying to make you turn it off when you go on the website. Usually I just fucking look into like what all I can do with the ad blocker or uBlock or whatever, and I'll circumvent it through trying to block it or using like scripts usually instead of fucking bothering. It's even worse when you come to a website that's like, oh, you want to browse this website, you need to turn your ad blocker off, and it's like, yeah, usually these companies that do this shit and pull this crap on people, though, are the same companies that fucking end up, like, putting, like, 1 billion ads on their page, and, like, put these intrusive, annoying ads in your face, and they end up making it really unpleasant to use the website, and just make it really, really awful in general browsing without an ad blocker. And it's like, if you're doing that shit, then it's like, yeah, no wonder nobody's fucking watching your site or looking at it. They don't want to be subjected to fucking billions of obnoxious ads. Why do you think they had the ad blocker on in the first place? Wonder is ad block tailor the quality to 240 to 140p. I've never seen anything quite like that. I think I've seen a few sites that tried similar stuff. I know when I've watched like anime on like Kiss Anime, or where there's some sites where you like watch the video and the video is like looking like it's stuck at just 240p and there's like no actual improvement in the video quality. It makes me wonder a little bit if maybe they have something to detect ad block that's causing that, but it's like, I don't really care too much. That is annoying, though, when you go on a website and there's, like, a video you want to watch, and then, oh, one quality option, and it's not very clear. You gotta watch a blurry-ass video that you can't make out very well. I've never been a fan of dealing with that. Let's see. What else do I want to talk about? I mean, not ads a little bit. I thought I remembered something else that was good, but I can't think of, like, anything else right now. There's good ones out there, though. Nothing comes to mind after that, though. Talked about most of the ones I can remember. I don't like websites that go out of their way to stop ad blockers, though, and try to be aggressive. Usually it feels like they're making the problem worse and not addressing why people want to leave the site in the first place. Give me a second or two. I'm thinking right now. Whew. I'm surprised I've lasted this long doing this damn shiny hunt. I don't like sitting here trying to rely on so much stamina, sitting here going for like 2 or 3 hours, wasting time doing the same shit, and yet I can still shiny hunt. Let's see. Oh, here's something that'll be good for talking about for a little bit. What are some, like, fun videos you guys have seen this year, or some really dumb ones, just videos that are worth talking about on YouTube? Stuff that's good. I watch a lot of Mr. Beast's videos, and I find that he's got fairly entertaining content. I've watched quite a bit of his channel. I think I discovered it properly this year. There's a lot of very, very interesting videos that have came out this year. I don't think it's been like great year for the kind of stuff I normally like comedy YouTube channels, but most of the other stuff I've seen is doing pretty well. Let's see. I'm gonna do a different approach. Putting ads. It's all over the place. Well, donation where you enter. Yeah, that's obnoxious too, though. It's like, I don't have infinite money to throw around, and it's like, hey, you shouldn't be blackmailing somebody when they come into your site and be like, oh, if you want to use the website, you need to pay this donation fee or turn off your, like, ad blocker. And it's like, fuck you. If you're going to put ads all over the place, it's like, absolutely just a shitty marketing technique to get more people that show up. I can't tell if you're serious or not. I'm assuming so, but like, Mr. Beast is like really popular on YouTube, and I think most people have heard of him because I think he ends up getting on the front page a lot since he's one of the bigger YouTubers. He's got like 23 million or something subs now. He's gotten a lot of popularity like recently. Very good YouTuber, very generous. It's a shame there aren't more people like him who actually care about making the world a better place, and he uses some of the money he has for, like, better stuff. But, whatever, it's not really that big of a deal. Let's see, what have I watched this year that I can think of? There's not really been a lot that I've been paying attention to. I watched JonTron, like, a bit early in the year, and then JonTron has been on... And, like, it's like it's been on a standby or something. I haven't seen a JonTron video in some time, and I don't know if it's because of the virus or just the fact that his schedule is really weird. I know JonTron tends to do, like, 6 months. It's a break after he does, like, a few videos, and it's like, as much as I enjoy the videos on his channel, it's like, I would be much, much happier to view his stuff if he didn't take a break, like, for 6 months or more, like, every year after he made, like, some videos. I'd be much happier watching them, even if he did, like, just, like, 3 or 4 more videos, and then took, like, a 3 or 4 month leave, and not, like, a whole huge, like, bit of time off just for him to, like, do whatever. Like, it's kind of boring when they kill off all their videos like that and don't do anything for half the year. I mean, I'm not gonna say much on that matter, because I feel like this year, like 2021, might end up being a somewhat inactive year for the channel, depending, because all my depression problems. I don't know if I can stream actively this next year. I've had some interesting ideas for streaming this year, though. I should say, in streaming maybe next year would be the right word. I want to look into more stuff. Let's see. Studied in like $1 or $2 for a donation means ads go away. That's surprising, and I mean, I feel like that's like really scummy type of like marketing that's like, I guess it works, but people fucking will, surprise me, will like pay up to a site basically ransoming your use of it just because you don't want to fucking pay them to get rid of ads or turn off your ad blocker. It's absolutely annoying, and usually it's on because the site itself just fucking sucks. Let me see, what's this? JonTron 2013 when he and stuff. Yeah, JonTron's kind of changed his like video format quite a bit, like from being about video games to being more about like general reviews, or just like him making fun of like really bad like videos or whatever. Like, it's still good, but it's genuinely not the same the way it is now. Like, on top of that, he's not very active anymore. It's like, I'll give him props for making high quality videos, but I kind of miss the old JonTron that really cared and made like a lot of videos every year, talked about stuff to his fans all the time, and on top of that would like upload fairly frequently. Like, John now is like very inactive and doesn't really do much of his YouTube. A lot of the YouTubers I used to watch, I don't really care about anymore. I don't really watch Peanut Butter Gamer quite as much anymore, and Let's see, who else? I used to watch The Completionist quite a bit, but I stopped bothering with that. Like, those two are some channels that I used to really watch. Same with Pro Jared. I don't really find his channel bad or anything, but I watched it more in the past, and then once those allegations kind of, I don't know, I kind of stopped caring, even though I didn't find anything wrong. I know he was probably innocent, but I just had a drop off around that point for whatever reason. Fuck. Let's see, hold on a second. Yeah, he's got a lot of, like, subscribers and a lot of people that watch his stuff, so JonTron can get away with making, like, one video a year and then not really doing anything. It's just the way it is. Is it a great thing? Is it cool or anything that he's able to take all this time away? I don't feel like I prefer it this way. I'd rather see him make more stuff, but I don't know if we're ever going to get too much more out of JonTron, so whatever, not really any point in complaining. I don't know. I'm going to name most of the YouTubers I've watched this year, actually. On the ones I remember I mentioned Game Explain, I watched them because I pay attention for game news, and that's pretty normal to watch there and, like, check in on, like, what all they put up. Also, on top of that, like, there's also, what was it, if I remember? I watched Arlo a lot. Arlo's gotten a lot of good stuff. Let's see, hold on a second. Hear the ball, something like that? Care. Comes up, yeah, JonTron's got a lot of money. You can tell by the way he does his videos, like production values, and he barely works with, like, making too much stuff. It's a little bit unfortunate that he doesn't make very many videos. You can't complain. It's a free service, I guess. I mean, not really a big deal. Sucks when your favorite YouTuber is not active or whatever, but yeah. Oh my god, my fingers. Again, I expected this would happen, but I'm still having fucking numbing issues, of course. Thank God when I'm done with this fucking stream, I can go get that thing I need to pick up. Oh yeah, I don't disagree with that, but I mean, I still think it's usually in somebody's best interest if they got an active channel to keep uploading, but I mean, yeah. Nobody has to make videos. Next game I want to buy. Probably going to get my hands on, like... Well, actually, I was going to get Age of Calamity, and I still think I probably will, but... I was trying to find a game I was looking for from, like, an indie presentation yesterday, and I can't remember it. I remember seeing something like one of Nintendo's indie presentations. I don't remember what the name was, and it was probably from, like, last year. It looked similar to Pikmin, and I was reminded of how I saw this game, and I can't remember what the name of it is for the life of me, and trying to comb through YouTube and, like, Nintendo's, like, indie game stuff that's uploaded is absolute torture, and I can't find any trace of it. I don't know what presentation to look for to, like, actually find where it's at. It's rather annoying, too. I remember a video talking about it really well, talking about how fun it was, and I can't find it. I wanted to play it because I figured I'd want to play something kind of like Pikmin again. Having another game like that would be kind of good. Let me see. Is that YouTube red? Is the blue? In peace. Quitting? Yeah, I think people just get tired of doing YouTube sometimes. I don't really blame people for wanting to move on in their life and wanting to, like, step away from what they're doing. Next year is going to be really awkward since I don't know how streams will go from here. I don't know if I'm going to be very busy. I don't know. It really is something where I may just end up not being able to stream anymore. If I can get my life straightened out and back together normally, I'd like to get into a relationship and work things out. But I mean, until that point happens, I guess it's not really that big of a deal. I am going to need like a break in 2021 though for a little bit so I don't overwhelm myself streaming too much. It does not feel easy to try and stream every day when you're dealing with depression. Feels like you have to be very, very like careful about not only talking, but like it's hard to like motivate yourself sometimes. Ugh. Going to YouTube, making YouTube for money reason. No work out, they've been thought and give up. Yeah, I'm about that being a thing too. People will make whatever if they don't see any success, they throw in the towel. I don't really blame them, but I mean, it's not really a sound business strategy to try and go to YouTube and then expect you'll get really, really good results and then bank on it being like your only thing for the future. This is more of a hobby for me, so I don't really mind the fact that it's not super successful. If this was more than this, I'd maybe say, yeah, I'd be wanting to move along and try to do some new stuff, but I think my reasoning if I stop YouTube really is going to be that I want to start a family and a relationship at some point. I want to be able to stop feeling depressed like this. Let's see. What have I watched for YouTube stuff that I was talking about earlier? So nothing. That's weird and that's odd because I saw the light go up right now. Somebody really fucking messing around with the likes for no reason and fucking on top of that, like disliking the video for no reason. Doesn't seem like there's a problem and I'd check it, but like, oh, I'd absolutely hate when I see like people who come on stream and then they dislike the video and leave. They don't end up like properly saying anything, or they don't. It's like they don't care. The dislike bar or not bar. The dislike button is just there for the sake of rating bad videos like a dislike, and they instead abuse it to just dislike any video they don't find entertaining. It's like I don't really like that about YouTube. I feel like the like meter on live stream should be just completely gone, honestly. It doesn't feel like it belongs there. Just my 2 cents on that. Not really a big deal. It's just like, really? It's like, you don't pay attention to the stream and yet you have enough fucking nerve to fucking dislike the video for no reason? I don't know. Not really a problem. Still, though. I don't know why I got into a rant right now. Whatever. Hard to find the person in time with. You can't go and force it. Then hasn't gone. Yeah, I don't even end up in a lot of relationships to begin with. So, I mean, trying to meet somebody and get into a new relationship is absolutely fucking like not something that's been easy for me. And I haven't been in a relationship in years, so it's like if I get into a new relationship, it's going to be nerve-wracking. I really want to find that person and be able to actually get into a relation, but right now I haven't gotten anywhere with my life in so long, and it sucks feeling this lonely. It feels like my life has just not been very meaningful. I haven't done anything important with my life. I've been playing games and streaming and whatever. Thing for you is living with somebody else. Yeah, that's one problem about like a relationship. It's not always fun to think about. Like even when you trust somebody, sometimes you have like, I'll be honest, I have things that I think of that I don't like that I feel like I need to vent and talk to people about, but it's like sometimes you have to worry about somebody taking it the wrong way and then freaking out on you, even if it's somebody you've been with for like a good chunk of your life. They may misunderstand what you're telling them, that kind of thing. Like, I don't enjoy that kind of thing. Something I am not comfortable discussing on YouTube, though. Feel like I probably won't bring it up. It's just a very, very hard subject to talk about. That's all. I saw that. I don't know who's watching and like deciding to fuck around at the like bar, but it's like, don't. Just stop. Like, leave it alone. Don't fucking start toying with it. It's not there to be screwed around with. Just let the like be, or don't like it or whatever. Just stop fucking going back and forth on it. That's all I'm gonna ask. I don't think anybody's gonna listen, but still. Hopefully next year will go better. I've been talking about a lot of things, and like I hope next year I can meet more people. Let's see, allowed to play at the dislike. You're locked in. I don't know. It makes sense that if people change their mind on videos, but it's also like some people don't really care, and I guess they're entertaining themselves, and it's like you're not really being a good person. You're just kind of like screwing with somebody's emotions just because you have the opportunity to. Okay, somebody's a fucking asshole evidently because they came on the stream and then disliked it. It's not just anybody, but I'm assuming the same person who was watching this and and like started messing with the like or dislike button, fucking just suddenly disliked the video. It's like, okay, cool. You're gonna be a giant asshole because somebody called you out on it. It's like, fuck you too. It's like, it's not cool to sit there and toy with the dislike bar or the like bar, and like, it kind of makes you look like a jerk if you get offended and dislike the video just because the fact that you were called out for being like really rude or doing something that wasn't really cool. It's like, yeah, you make yourself look bad, and it just doesn't help the stream or anything. Like, if you start toying with the like bar, disliking for no reason, it makes you look like a giant jerk. I don't know, this is my opinion. I see that somebody disliked the video, probably the same person who came on the video and randomly disliked it. Past people I banned? I don't know, honestly. It makes me wonder. It's really bizarre that people can't just accept the fact that they get banned. Usually it's for good reason. I don't know who thought it was funny that they kept messing with the like bar, though. As somebody who was fucking liking it, unliking it, and then when I called them out, they disliked. It's like, it honestly makes them look kind of childish, though. They're sitting there doing this over and over again. Whatever, I'm going to avoid talking about this too much, though. I don't want to deal with YouTube, and it's sometimes really toxic mindset where people get into doing this shit if you even mention the fact there are dislikes on the video. Give me a second or two. I'm trying to think here. Here's another thing that's good. Well, actually, when I say good to talk about, I'm not actually sure, but like here's something that I would figure is worth talking about. I know, I'm sure some of you guys think how you did stream for a while, Wayne, but like, if you guys were offered like a lot of money to sign up for like a certain streaming service and like basically they stream exclusively on them, would you guys take it? I'm not sure where I stand on this issue. I've seen quite a few different like people talk about this. I think if it was like a large enough sum of money, I'd probably consider it. Basically, somebody contracts you and offers you like say 100,000 or something to stream on like Facebook or whatever. I don't really care about that. It's interesting to see people get bought up off of YouTube or Twitter all the time, and then they go and stream on one service because they want to get the money from that. I know Ninja did that, and he ended up coming out of that with the fact that he got his hands on like more money because of the fact Mixer got like a contract with them, and then it ended up dying. Yeah, I'm not the kind of person who probably would go for switching over like a lot of money. I think switching platforms to get money would be actually an understandable goal, even if some people would call you out and call you a sellout for changing. I don't know if I'd personally ever get the chance to. I mean, I'm not got any big streams, but I mean, even then, it's like, it'd be definitely worth considering, probably. Unless they were offering you like a stupid small amount of money to try and buy you out. In other words, that'd be a no, though. Let's see. Give me a second. Okay, I'm thinking on something I want to talk about for a little bit. I think I've got something I wanted to talk about for just a bit. Actually, here's something that'll be good to discuss, I think. What's everyone's favorite thing to do in, like, video games? You guys play games where sometimes you just turn the game on and you sit there and you'll, like, just mess around a little bit and play any games where you enjoy just like booting the game up and then playing for like 10 minutes and you stop playing it. I have a few games that I've done that with. I haven't done it like where I played mini games like that in a long time and messed around with them. I remember I did that with like both Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey to an extent, where I would like mess around. Not too much in Breath of the Wild, but it's fun to goof around and check out some challenges or whatever and mess around with that. Also in Mario Odyssey, it's pretty fun to turn it on and goof off and try to see what you can do, even if you got all the moons already, and like try to experiment with like jumps. Or on top of that, there's that new Luigi's I say new, it's like a year or two ago, that whole Luigi's Balloon World thing they added to the game. That was a fun addition to the game. Those games aren't good at that. You can mess around with. Yeah, it requires a special type of game to really have that replayability where you can come back and play it at any point without even needing a goal in it. Roguelikes, I feel like, are really good about that, because roguelikes always end up giving you that freedom to come back and do another run just because you have the interest in it rather than having an actual need for it. Partially why I think I like roguelikes. They give you a lot of gameplay to work with. I find it to be very good. Let's see, GTA is the best game. A guy on YouTube who does Mythbusters and game. I'd say GTA. I think I've seen something like that. Not really. I've seen like something similar, and I've seen a streamer, like I've talked about Vinesauce. I remember watching a stream from like Vinesauce Joel at one point where he was doing a goofy joke stream where it was like investigating mysteries in like GTA San Andreas or something. It was stupid but really funny seeing him like mess around and then like go to these spots and see some of these dumb rumors, and some of them actually ended up turning out true. Honestly, like seeing like little things like that in videos too, seeing like little Easter eggs that developers leave in their games for players to like go through and find like years later. And it's always fucking crazy when you find something that nobody knew about like after so long. I remember there was something that I thought of that was like pretty interesting that I'd forgotten about, like something worth bringing up, like on, what was it again, if I can remember what game. There was a really big thing that happened with this game, and I can't remember the name of what I was thinking of. Shit. Oh, Diablo 2, that's right. I was trying to think on what it was. There was a thing in Diablo 2 where there was this thing about like something about a cow. Like there was like, if you typed in like a specific code, you're rumored to like get access to and fight like this super hard boss that was supposed to be like a secret boss that you could fight, and you'd have to be max level to even stand a chance of fighting it. It ended up being a bunch of bullshit that wasn't actually true and was like just an internet rumor that got spread around. But it was also a pretty neat little rumor. I enjoyed checking it out, and then when I looked on this video, like apparently the whole thing regarding the cow thing was like actually referenced in like Diablo 3, and they made like a real thing in regards to the cow thing I was talking about. What the hell is that, if I can remember? Maybe if I Google search it'll show up when I bring it up. That's one of the things I enjoy about games, looking for like trying to find it. Yeah, there it is. I was trying to see what the name of the thing I was talking about, the Diablo 2 rumor. Now I remember. Apparently it's called, let me read this again. I think it said Secret Cow Level. Yeah. Diablo 2 Secret Cow Level with mood sound effects. Okay, it's like completely fake, but it's also really funny at the same time. I love how people just spread these fucking random ass rumors around. It's really funny to like watch and see people start this stuff. There's something very special about seeing that kind of stuff in games. Not really great, but I enjoy seeing the internet go crazy and make shit up and then sit there trying to prove it real over like all this time. I remember like how people were doing these videos on Mario 64 for the longest time, and people were making these videos like, L is real, how to unlock Luigi in Mario 64, and like so many people made fucking videos on this and clickbaited, and it's like, why is this still popular? Why do people still watch these? It's like, it's very obvious he's not in the game because the game's been data mined by now, and it's like, obviously if we haven't found him by this point and there's no evidence of him being there and unlocking him, it's like very likely that just all of a sudden one day we'd be able to find some way to unlock a character just after the game's been out like 20 years. The rumor itself was fucking ridiculous, and the fact that it lasted that long is actually pretty funny. I mean, I guess there was technically a little bit of truth in that, though, in the end. It ended up being where there was that Luigi stuff found in that prototype from the Nintendo Giga Leak. Funny how that ended up coming like full circle. Oops, come on, get in where I need it in face of the statue. See, what are some good ones? I can only name like so many that I can think of that are really good. Hi there, welcome to the stream. Talking about like games and what else was it? Ed mentioned again. Oh yeah, we're talking about games that like sandbox games, stuff to mess around with. Also, I mentioned and like rumors and games too. Welcome to the stream. Name is Ninja. Welcome though. Nice to meet you. Let's see. What are some big ones? I'm trying to think like gaming legends that got passed down. I remember something big actually that I almost forgot about that I haven't talked about on stream yet. Actually, like I saw it like not that long ago by a YouTuber, Nick Robinson. I think most people probably have heard of him because of the fact that Nick Robinson makes like a lot of really weird videos and makes stuff on like obscure points and videos. I like his videos. I don't know if he's got the best videos. In fact, I've heard some serious allegations thrown around on and like his stuff where it's like, what was it if I remember, like for people claiming he was like somebody who sexually harassed women. It's not exactly something that sounds good, but like the guy's got very, very interesting videos, even though his behavior is kind of questionable. What I remembered last was like he made a new video some time ago where he made something like talking about a McDonald's game or whatever. Apparently, like back in the day, there was some training program they were going through. They made like a special DSI and a little cartridge that was like a McDonald's training program game, and they only made like so many copies, and they used it to train employees. And he's talking about this because it was apparently one of the rarest DS games out there with like very little documentation on it, and nobody assumedly had like a copy of it or had like any actual footage of the game. It was all stuck with like collectors to see anything, and nobody wanted to upload any footage of it. All it was there was like reportings of like something from like a long time ago where people were showing it on like the news. It was really, really weird, but the video was really, really interesting, and he revealed by the end of the video that he actually got his hands on a copy of it and that he like dumped the ROM for the game on the internet so that people could actually play it and experience it for the first time. It's really weird because it's like an obscure like a licensed game or whatever on like DS that's like nobody knew about it very well. It was just like faded into obscurity because of the fact that there was only so many cartridges available of it. It was officially licensed, I think. I don't think it was like, I don't know if it was Nintendo that licensed it, but I think Mike, I meant to say, I was saying McDonald's and I almost said Microsoft, but yeah, I think McDonald's like produced like a whole bunch of different copies of the game and like gave them out to their employees to train them for the sake of like, I don't know why they used a DS game to train their employees. What the hell is the name of this again? Let me see what Google says and I search it. I can't remember what it's called. Donald's game. Why can't I find the name of it? Oh, it's called ECDP, eSmart or whatever. It's McDonald's, literally a McDonald's training program. It's interesting because the fact that very rare, very, very rare. I don't think there's like any copies out in circulation. I think most of the people who have a copy have hoarded the game to themselves and haven't released it anywhere, and most of the people who have it keep it as a collector's item instead of getting rid of it, so like barely any copies of the game have ever been out into circulation. It's just really, really weird how this game existed for this long and nobody like knew about it. And apparently on top of that, it's not the only one. This was like a game made for like training new employees, and on top of that, there was like apparently a second McDonald's game they made on DS where it was something like meant to train like training. I think it was apparently meant to test like employees of McDonald's who'd been working at the company for some time. It was meant to like test their knowledge of like company stuff, like, and basically test all their skills they've learned working at McDonald's. Really, really weird. Apparently, the second game I mentioned is like something that's still lost and nobody's actually found a record of. It's only been the first game that's actually had like any proper like findings and anybody's got their hands on it. Also, the game was in Japanese and it wasn't released in any other language, so if you tried to play it, you wouldn't be able to really understand it. Not unless you spoke Japanese, and apparently there are some people who are trying to like translate it, but it's amazing how weird the internet can be. Come together to get a fucking McDonald's game, and on top of that, it like now there's people translating it, all because it's like some weird relic lost to time. I wonder how many games are out there that have been like just buried and like never actually got a chance to be shown off anywhere because of the fact they had popularity maybe, but like they didn't get anywhere because of like maybe bad circumstances like this McDonald's thing did. I'm not gonna say it's a good game. It was a training program for fuck's sake, but it's weird how it ended up being like one of the most obscure DS games ever made. I wonder if I've got any like big. I don't know if I've got like too many games like that. I'm wondering if there's anything I've got that's on my collection that's actually rare though. I don't think so. I don't think I have anything too rare. I certainly wouldn't mind having like having a game that's like physical and collector's item. One game I do think I'd like to pick up for a collection would be like maybe Earthbound, but it's like really pricey. I can imagine having a copy of Earthbound on and like an official SNES would actually be really cool. Just having that in your hands to actually play. Speaking of like Earthbound, it's a shame the Mother series has been like so dormant. Nintendo's just been afraid to do anything with it. I hope they eventually take the plunge and actually end up doing something cool with the Mother series again. I bet they're not going to touch it anytime soon, though. Oh, boy. We've got another 40-ish encounters, and I still haven't got anything to show for it, and looking like we're not going to see a shiny today. Lovely. Oh, well, not really a big deal. Give me a second or two. I'm not sure what I want to talk about. I need a moment, because there's a lot I can talk about, but it's just like, what on my mind. I guess another thing I can talk about, something I mentioned on stream, it's another topic we've discussed already, but it's always fun to bring this back up. What's everyone's like most wanted remakes or remasters you guys want to see? I think I want to see Pikmin get remade at some point, Pikmin 1 and 2. Those games are really good. I'm disappointed they never got like a proper release on, like, they never got a proper remake, and that they end up just re-releasing Pikmin 3. Like, I feel like those games are absolutely amazing. Any people who play Pikmin for the first time are probably going to wonder what they're like, and there's no way to actually play them properly. Plus, the Pikmin 3 AI and the graphics are fucking gorgeous. The AI works really well. I could imagine how good a remake on, like, modern stuff like with the normal Pikmin engine would look right now. Also, I might be wrong, and I might have people disagree with me, but I feel like 3D All-Stars was a big missed opportunity. They had a chance to do proper remakes the same way they handled, like, doing Crash Team Racing, like how the Insane Trilogy and Spyro, that kind of stuff was done. All these modern remakes, Nintendo took the sleazy and lazy way out. You know, all these other companies are going for actually putting a lot of effort into their games. I'm still a little bit upset they put a fucking time limit on it and made it limited edition to, where all the rumors about 3D All-Stars were suggesting it would be like a game that would actually be remade with like new assets and games in HD. I genuinely feel like that game deserved to actually have fucking proper popularity and should have actually gotten a better chance. They should have made it into HD. Made 3 because the Wii U failed. Cared about Pikmin. I mean, they didn't even remake it. They just ported it and they added new content to it. I don't feel like it's fair to really call 3 a remake. I feel like they need to put in, like, put the other two up on the Switch or something with, like, hopefully fix them up and remake them properly. But 3 is good, but they could have done more than port 3 over to the Switch, frankly. They could have actually remade more of the series or whatever. Oh, cool. Fucking try to run away and I die again. Oh well, whatever. Updated version with new content. Yeah, it's pretty accurate. It's not really a ton of new content either. It's good, but it's a lot of money for not a whole lot of new stuff, frankly. I still don't know how I stand on it completely. I enjoyed playing through it, but I mean, they definitely could have afforded to do more with it than what they did. Also, I love Pikmin, but I've got to say, like, over the years, Pikmin 3 has kind of ended up being, like, not my favorite of the games. I think I still like it more than Pikmin 1, but Pikmin 3 is, like, really, really easy. Campaign doesn't take very long to beat. There's some good replayability, but, like, the game feels way too short and feels like it babies the player a lot. Like, as much as I enjoy it, it's like, they really, really made it so the game was extremely simple, like, not very hard to play. Like, Pikmin 3 is a little too easy, in my opinion. Ugh. I don't know, just a slight complaint. The difficulty options, like, even the normal difficulty they added, and they made it easier, and the easy mode was, like, extremely easy. Oh well, whatever. Just never sold well. Heard other franchises. To be fair, Pikmin's never really had, like, a chance on, like, a modern console. I feel like all the chances they've took with, like, Pikmin have been pretty much botched. They've done a really bad job trying to actually handle the series. Like, they put it on a lot of platforms, but they ended up doing it really badly. They released it on GameCube, which was not a very smart move, since it ended up being, like, unpopular and not really getting, like, a lot of attention. On top of that, like, well, that's like a big thing. They put it on GameCube first, then they released it near the end of the Wii's lifespan in a port that didn't really catch anybody's attention, and they kind of ended up causing themselves to lose out on sales by waiting too long. And on top of that, then they released Pikmin 3 on the Wii U, and that's like when they do this shit, it's like, I don't know what they're expecting to happen. It's like they almost set the game up to fail, and they act shocked and the game series doesn't do any well. It's like, well, gee, maybe if you didn't put the game in these compromising situations every time you released it, you wouldn't end up having this happen. Like, they released it, like, even on the Switch, they released Pikmin 3 Deluxe, like, right after Mario 3D World, a bunch of other Mario stuff, and on top of that, they also released Breath of the Wild, so you meant to say Age of Calamity, like, a month later, and it's like, I don't know what you're expecting, but putting, like, a big-name Zelda thing, like, a month after Pikmin 3 is just asking to cannibalize the sales of the game. If you ask me, they should have put it out as the last game of the year, so that people would actually flock towards it and want to play it more, rather than putting it out before, like, Age of Calamity and letting other games that are coming out, like, overshadow it. Pikmin's never been strong for, or, like, sales-wise, and they kind of shot themselves in the foot again, it seems like. I don't know if it's had its sales figures reported yet, but I haven't heard anything about it in a long while. Hopefully they'll make more of it. It'd be nice to see Pikmin 4, actually, but I bet they're not going to make one at this rate, since we don't have anything to go off of. It's been a long time since we've waited on Pikmin 2, since Pikmin 3 was 7 years ago now, and they re-released it instead of making a new game. I don't know. What happens. Yeah, I can't really blame you. It sucks they haven't done anything with Pikmin as a series, though, and they've been getting cold feet to try and release a new Pikmin game. It's like, Nintendo, please, just fucking give us more Pikmin. Stop fucking making us wait and making things, like, confusing or agonizing. Like, just release this other game in the series. Like, people will probably buy it if you stop fucking releasing it in, like, really bad clusters instead of fucking putting it out in literally the worst time and then blaming the fans for not actually buying it. It's like, look at your fucking marketing decisions. Look at why Chibi Robo died. Instead of blaming yourself, or not blaming yourself, but like ignoring everybody who's telling you you fucked up, and then blaming the fan base for it not selling well. Honestly, it's one thing I don't really love about Nintendo. They don't know how to admit when they're wrong. Always a matter of, like, Nintendo thinking they know best, and then when something doesn't work out, they end up just getting frustrated and canceling shit. It's like, oh, God. It's like, why do they never learn their lesson when it comes to doing really bad releases? Metroid Other M bombed because the game was terrible. And they didn't make any Metroid for like 10 years because they saw Other M failing. Pikmin has got like no game since Pikmin 2. Like in 2004, they didn't release Pikmin 3 like until 9 years later? Like they waited a long time for releasing a new game, and like anything that's not remotely successful of them gets shafted without them thinking anything of it. They just immediately take action and don't think about the consequences or what they're doing wrong. Nintendo seems like they just feel like everything they do is guaranteed to be a good move, and it's not, obviously. I mean, if it was, why would people be complaining about the Switch Online right now and how bad it is? Or Joy-Con drift. Oh, Nintendo, they disappoint me in some of their decisions, honestly. Hang on a second, I can check the chat in just a moment. I need to see what's going on, see if there's anything important. Let's see. Care about more than the other franchise? See anything for years, decades? That, yeah, I don't know, I don't get the impression, but I mean, you might be right. I feel like part of the reason Pikmin is only able to be successful and get attention is because it's one of those series that Miyamoto created, and as a result of him having, like, the say in, them say in what goes on at Nintendo, it's like, he's very quick to make sure his baby of a franchise that he loves gets plenty of games, and he gives it attention even though it doesn't get games very often. I'm glad he does, but I mean, I'm gonna be honest, it'd be even worse off if some other developer made it, because then there wouldn't be that Miyamoto bias like keeping the game series alive. It's a shame that it never sells very well because the fact they never release it at very good times. I wish they would understand what they're doing wrong, but whatever, not a big deal. Something I want to complain about. The one that actually plays the franchise. Yeah, it's not very big in terms of like Nintendo franchises. I mean, Pikmin's a very, very niche series that you'd probably be lucky to find even 1 million people in the fan base that support the game. So, yeah, it doesn't exactly have the biggest fan base out of any Nintendo game. It's a very good franchise they've got, though, in my opinion. They ever promote it. I've seen them put ads up for it, but not very often. Also, the ads for the game have been really, really strange. I remember they have, like, saw a video, like, on a whole bunch of different weird ad campaigns on, like, stuff they did in Japanese ads. They're, like, showing people, like, Pikmin stealing shit, or there was, like, the infamous ad everybody remembers back in the fucking day in the GameCube era, and, like, they did that thing for Pikmin 2, fucking hot, that commercial where they had those Pikmin, they had, like, some guys dress up like Pikmin and start swarming around some guy, and there's all these little short, it was like midgets or whatever you want to call them. I don't mean to be offensive when I say that, because I know some people take the word midget to be offensive. It's not what I mean by it. I don't know how else to describe it, but, like, these people were all really short, and they were all running up to these guys and, like screaming hot dog. It was like some really dumb, really weird commercial for Pikmin 2. It was very, very strange to see it back in the day. Not something I mean, I'm saying not something I feel like I've seen very much, but actually now that I think about it, some of the commercials for old Nintendo games were really fucking bizarre, actually. And I mean really bizarre. Hold on a second. I need to check on a thing or two really fast. I think I'm good checking something. Or was I across some GameCube ads are weird? Ads are weird. Stuff like, yeah, Nintendo had a lot of strange ads. I remember looking up like an ad for like Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube, and it was so weird it didn't make any sense. It was like some person like sitting around doing whatever, talking about like how scared they were or whatever. Like, I think it was like in a hotel or a mansion or something, like trying to make a joke about the game's setting. It was really, really dumb. It was pretty interesting, though. It wasn't a good commercial, in my opinion. Not strange, more so creepy. I don't know. I don't think I remember the Animal Crossing ads too much. I remember back in the day, while like on the N64, I remember they made that fucking ad for Smash Bros. That was a fucking weird ad. Had like Mario, Yoshi, and Donkey Kong or whatever. I think it was like Mario, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, Link or something. They were all walking like side by side. And then like as the like commercial, and the announcer of the commercial sat there like talking, and they started beating the shit out of everybody. And he was talking about like how Smash is a fighting game and whatnot. It was really stupid and really funny. I found that to be a really, really interesting ad back in the day. A lot of Nintendo's old ads were really, really strange. There's a lot of bizarre ads out there. At the end of the game, you're near it. That's what scares you. Yeah, Nintendo has had the series of like questionable advertising campaigns. I remember one of theirs was, what was it, if I can remember? Oh, right, Earthbound. They tried to go in on cheesy marketing or whatever, and they literally said this game stinks, and then they caused like nobody to buy it because everybody thought the game was terrible because of the advertising campaign, which made literally no sense. The ad basically made everybody who thought Earthbound would be good and like stay away from it because they got the wrong perception of the game. There's some really, really weirdly done commercials out there. Let's see, what's another one I can remember that's really good? That's another thing that's actually pretty fun to talk about, or like old gaming ads. Things where you see like what all companies did for, or not gaming ads, ads in general, and see what kind of crazy ads were back on TV back in the day. I haven't seen it personally, but I remember like Crash Bandicoot advertising because it got really popular and talked about over the internet. Like the guy who's in the Crash Bandicoot costume, and he comes outside of Nintendo's headquarters, and then he's like screaming about Crash Bandicoot, like that ad. I remember that one pretty well. It's very, very popular on the internet. It was also really fucking stupid. Like, it looks so low quality. Especially the guy in the Crash costume, and there's like a fucking hole in the middle where his head's at. It's like, that was a stupid commercial. It was funny, though. It's weird to look at like older ads and then compare them to newer ads, where like a lot of old ads now like have it set up where they're like extremely competitive, at least with like game ads, and they're super cutthroat about how they want you to buy their console, like way more than you'd see nowadays. Like nowadays, most ads are pretty friendly. Oh, here's a good one. I'm only going to play the audio from it. Here's a really stupid ad. I remember this was recent though, and it's from fucking Yoshi's Woolly World. Let me see if I can find this. That ad for that game was really fucking stupid. I want to play that one again. It's dumb as hell. Also, the advertising campaign made no sense. Double Yoshi Exploshi. It's like, who wrote this stupid cheesy ad? Let's see, does it pop up when I search it? Yep, found it. I'm going to have to unmute my Chrome in order to play it, but still I think it'll be worth it. This ad is stupid. I'm not going to talk too much.
Spring Yoshi, fling Yoshi, tie the boss in string Yoshi, zoom Yoshi, boom Yoshi, finding a secret room Yoshi, down Yoshi, underground Yoshi, jump Yoshi, then pound Yoshi, tapping a yarn Yoshi.
Stupid as fuck. It's cheesy.
Yoshi. It's a double Yoshi Exploshi. Yoshi's Woolly World special amiibo bundle available only on Wii U, rated E for everyone.
I don't know what the fuck they were doing with that advertising campaign. The ad, like the fucking like lines in that ad are so goddamn stupid. There's some fucking really strange ads that Nintendo's put out over the years. That one is definitely one of the really dumb ones, though. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's like any other really dumb ones that are worth like playing on the stream really quick before I forget, but I can't think of anything that's worth playing. That one was just a fucking stupid ad, and it was funny. Oh wait, I remembered one that would be good. The Wii U era, it wasn't like terrible, but they had like a lot of really dumb ads back in the Wii U ads. I remember one that was good. If I'm gonna have to look it up in a second, because it's one that's worth like watching again or playing it. I feel like it's better when you see it, but it's still good with the audio. Let's see, Splatoon ad will be good too. I remember that really well. There it is. Splatoon commercial, I think. Let me see. This is the one. Is this the one I'm thinking of? Yeah, this is it. This fucking song. This caught on way too easily for probably good reason. This is a really strange advertising campaign. I fucking love how stupid that is. Fucking, you're a squid now, you're a kid now. It just sounds dumb as fuck. I remember that ad when I saw that on like TV or wherever for the first time. That was just like, what the fuck is this ad? Like, what the fuck were they trying to do with the ad? I mean, I guess it worked. It ended up being like a fairly good advertising campaign that caught a lot of people's attention, but like, oh man, there were some really weird ads on Wii U games. I'm trying to think if there's any other ones that I can remember, like any other really dumb ads like that that were funny to play. Oh, the Crash ones in the 90s. That they were funny, and that Crash the mascot of PlayStation. 30 ads of Crash you'd think you'd be. Yeah, I think a lot of people made that same common misconception about Crash. I thought that was like a very, very simple and very, very common misconception. Fuck it, just because I want to listen to another ad, and I think one that'll be fun to listen to for nostalgia, let's play the Pikmin 2 ad again. I want to hear that one since I haven't played it in fucking forever. I'm not going to do any more than this unless you guys request me play one specifically. Can't remember any other really good ones off the top of my head, actually, unfortunately. Let's see, Pikmin 2 ad. Yep, found the one I was thinking of. This will be a fun thing to visit and rewatch since I haven't seen this in fucking forever, actually. See if this is as dumb as I remember it was. Yeah, it's about as dumb as I thought it was. I had to wonder how many, like how much money it costed them to do this. Like, to pay all these people to dress up like Pikmin. It's just been a lot just to do this stupid commercial. Okay, that's enough dumb game ads for right now. I just thought it'd be fun to go back and listen to some of those and hear some of them again. Oh, man. Let me see. I guess I caught up on all the comments in the chat too. I remember what you said. Like, I've seen like some of the Crash. I never really watched the commercials too much. They were alright though. What were some like really memorable commercials back in the day? I remember like that kind of stuff, but like other big ones. I didn't really care for it myself, and this isn't a super old commercial, but I will admit like the advertising campaign for like the little Beyblades toys actually was pretty good. They made that whole theme song to go along with it. I know they made an anime. I don't think the Beyblade anime was very good. I've watched it a few times, like trying to see how it is, and like seeing it when I was younger because of nothing else on, and it was pretty boring as a show. But the like main like music they made, the whole Beyblade theme was actually pretty catchy. Honestly, I remember that really well. What else can I think of? Eggo commercials were good too. The whole Lego My Eggo thing was like a very, very catchy campaign. Is there any more I can mention? I don't know if there's anything too good that I can think of to talk about, unfortunately, in terms of ads. I've already talked about a lot of them. I can't think of any. Okay, we'll just change the topic for right now. I wanted to talk more about it, but I'm not the best for this kind of thing. That might be a fun stream to do in the future, maybe, if it'll... I don't know if YouTube has any problems claiming videos over this stuff, but it's like... I wouldn't mind doing a stream where I did nothing, but we just sit down and like watch ads and see all the old ads, see what all comes up when we watch some of these ads and see if anything good's on like these older ads. Just watch some fun ones. Oh, another one number that I almost forgot about was like the Mario 64 ad. They had like a commercial with Mario where he literally jumped out of like a TV and he walked over to like a fridge and got milk. That was a fucking weird commercial. Really weird commercial. Right, let's change the topic though and talk about something else for a little bit since we got some more time that I want to talk about stuff. I don't know what I want to talk about right now. Give me a second or two before we continue though. I just need to check on a tiny thing. I want to find where this is at on my list. No, it's not. Okay, I didn't put it on here. I thought I did. Never mind. At least I don't see it. Alright, here's another topic. It's going to be a little bit of a different thing and probably something a little more on a different extreme just for, like, discussion for a little bit. How do you guys feel about DRM in games? I don't really like it very much. I know a lot of games nowadays have, like, that de novo shit. Or, like, a lot of games that don't run well or they run, like, really slow because the developers put de novo or DRM in games. Also leads for, like, a really, really interesting topic for talking about, like, piracy and shit. I don't really like to pirate games. In fact, I don't think I've ever really pirated one that I can think of. I mean, I've used emulators, but like, I've got to say, it genuinely feels like when I look at this shit and see like DRM in games, it's like, I feel like a lot of companies that try to put DRM in games, they end up making their games like actually worse and they end up making more people want to pirate their games. You've never heard of DRM before? I didn't say DXM, or unless you just misspelled it when you were typing it. Let me see. I wonder if Google will get the results. I'm not actually sure exactly how you describe it, but it's like supposed to be anti-pirating stuff they put in games. Let's search this up and see what Google tells the result as. I know what DRM is, but I don't know what the specific definition of it is. Digital rights management. Okay, that's what it says, and it's supposed to restrict usage of games. Okay, that explains a little more why it's used for, like, pirating. Same kind of shit that companies use for the sake of, like, trying to get people to, like, or was it? They use, like, certain features where they'll, like, put in the game and they have, like, an anti-piracy feature and they use DRM to, like, actually implement it. Like, that kind of shit. That's another thing that'll be, maybe not sure if it's worth talking about today. I'm not sure. I'll think about it if I have time still, but like talking about like anti-piracy measures in games is another interesting topic. I mean, I don't completely hate when companies do it. It's not great, but also at the same time, it's like sometimes companies go way too far when it comes to their anti-piracy stuff. I've got to say, when it comes to like piracy in like certain games, I've noticed like there's definitely, I don't know if it's still a trend, but I remember I've seen something online about like some indies and like other companies actually like throw in like extra content in the games that you can only find if you pirate them, and then when you play it actually is meant to like encourage people who pirated the game to actually buy it instead of just like making the game completely unplayable. Honestly, that's probably not a bad strategy for like having some form of piracy protection, if you can even call it that, on a game. It's like, yeah, instead of pissing the people off who are like pirating the game and probably wouldn't buy it anyway, like, why wouldn't you try to entice them into like actually buying the game with like another selling point? It's kind of lame though when it's like taking away from a game and like people who pirate the game are getting more shit they can play out of the game. That's why you actually paid for it though. That's like really goddamn lame when that happens, but I can see why companies do that sometimes. I don't know how many games I've seen do that. In fact, I haven't heard of that in like recent years, but I remember like some older indie games they owned had that. Like one of them was that McPixel game. I don't think it's very popular anymore. I was like a game released like 5 or 10 years ago. Oh great, I'm getting spam calls on my phone. I'm gonna just hang it up. Sorry about that. I don't know. How do you guys, I'm curious, how do you guys stand on emulation? I think we've had this discussion before for a little bit, but like, You guys play emulators any often, or do you guys not use them? I'm personally still fine playing pro emulation because I feel like with a lot of games, it's impossible to play them otherwise because of fucking stuff like games going out of circulation. If you want to buy them, it costs you a fucking arm and a leg, and it's like, yeah, I'm not going to pay like $200 on an old game I want to play via getting it through an emulator. I don't think it's worth it trying to get it through an emulator to say getting it through like physical means or whatever. I find that's a waste of money, frankly. I'd rather use like an emulator to play it. Also, I don't like how a lot of companies are like so like anti-emulation that they like completely fucking try to destroy anybody who uses any type of emulator. Hi there, welcome to the stream. I think I've seen you around here, but welcome again, Dragon Clocking. I don't know, I mean, looking at Nintendo's one of the worst offenders of like getting really upset about piracy shit. Not even piracy, just about like emulation actually. Like they go out of their way to try and take stuff down. I remember like a few ROM sites I've seen like went out of business because Nintendo tried to like take them down. And I'm pretty sure Nintendo's stance is like they're not only like against and like emulation, but they're also like under the impression that there should be no emulation whatsoever in like the gaming industry. I can't understand that. It's kind of hypocritical too when you look at it. They use emulation for their own console to like put up like Nintendo Switch Online. They did it for Virtual Console. But if somebody wants to play a game that's rare and expensive and there's no way to actually find it, they get offended when you play a game through some unofficial means and you can actually play it for the first time and check it out. It's like, why do you want people to and not be able to play these games? Like, why would you take emulators down just because of like this slight problem? It's like they are so paranoid about losing even the slightest amount of money from this stuff. I don't know. Really goddamn weird to think about and talk about. Just my 2 cents on that. I don't really love emulation. I don't hate it though. It's done a lot of good things. Only like obscure games. You can't play ROM hacks without emulation, and there's a lot of good ROM hacks out there too. They're also way too broken on their franchise. Yeah, I would agree with that. That's another thing I think I've talked about a little bit, but never really talked about too much on stream. I don't like how they're super quick to kill off fan games. I don't know when this started either, because I don't remember this ever being like a serious problem. And then like, I guess with AM2R or whatever, they started killing off fan games left and right. They started taking down all these different fan games. Nowadays, you make anything with the Nintendo character, a franchise in mind for a fan game, you have to really watch your back in order to make sure you can actually not have your project taken down. Like, what happened? Nintendo wasn't like this before, and they've gone crazy over like taking down anything fan related. It must really suck to have like a passion project you've been working on for 10 years or something, and you've been like putting a ton of effort into. You release it, and then Nintendo just fucking kills it because they don't want fan games circulating. Like, I remember that with AM2R happening, and I mean, while they had good reasoning, I feel like they probably would have got more sales on their own Metroid 2 remake if they'd decided not to take it down and just left it up for fan goodwill. Like, that was really gutting to watch. And AM2R is a really fantastic game. I have so much respect for the guy who like made that. I don't know why I can't remember his name right now, but like spent years of his life learning how to use an engine to like remake Metroid 2 and then polish it, remake it to the same standards that like Zero Mission and Fusion have, and then like a day or two later it gets taken down because Nintendo doesn't really like the fact they made a Metroid 2 remake, and they see it as encroaching on their, or like basically encroaching on their rights and like infringing their copyrights. Like, Nintendo, Disney's the most greedy company in the world. Yeah, I've heard about Disney having a lot of like problems like this as well regarding like fan creations. I don't know how many companies out there are actually good about, like, doing, like, letting fan games slide. Maybe Capcom. Capcom seems pretty cool about not killing any games that are fan games. They usually just let them stay up and don't really do anything. Like, a lot of good Mega Man and even, like, Street Fighter, large, like, different projects have been released that haven't been killed off because Capcom doesn't fucking hate their fan base like Nintendo does, it seems, and Nintendo makes it very clear they're not afraid to tell their fan base when they think they're wrong, even though Nintendo makes the stupid decisions most of the time anyway. I would say Sega is not bad, but I mean, the problem with Sega is, even though they're good at, like accepting a lot of Sonic fan games, there's been a lot of, like, stuff I've seen, like, where they've had, like, other fan games for different franchises pop up, and they're very much quick to take down fan game projects for stuff that's not related to, like, Sonic. It's like, okay, cool, they're fine with Sonic fan games, but the fact they're willing to kill fan games in general, as long as it's not Sonic, is pretty embarrassing. I feel like the worst part of it is they're doing it just because they know they suck at making good Sonic games anymore. So rather than fucking owning up to their mistake, they'd rather just leave these, like, better fan games up and be like, oh yeah, you guys keep making these Sonic fan games, and maybe if you're lucky you'll get hired by Sega for making them. I wish more companies would do that, although like I said, I do wish that they would stop killing fan games in general, since they only really seem to openly accept Sonic fan games. Okay, there's our 1000th encounter for the day. I can go heal up and stop. That's unfortunate that we didn't get a shiny after all this time. It feels like we've wasted another day, but whatever. The more we do this, the more we keep getting closer to full odds shiny instead of getting an early one, and that's assuming we get one then. Great. Oh well, whatever. Let's see, what's something that's worth talking about right now? Just thinking right now. I wonder, actually, I've got to be honest, I think I talked about it a little bit. I don't know how I feel about Disney's decision-making, since brought that up on the stream, actually, about them being greedy. Like, I don't like how they've done, like, a whole bunch of live-action remakes. I don't really like what they've done with, like, a lot of their series lately. Disney's made some weird, questionable decisions. They've also did shit like putting up ridiculous fees to watch new movies on Disney Plus, and it's like, they're kind of burning their goodwill by making these terrible decisions and fucking like making their fans out to be the villains here a lot of times. Ugh, it's really, really rough. I don't know. I'm not really super, like, well, I don't, what's our super studied on Disney, I guess. I don't keep up with them as much as I do other stuff. In fact, in general, I don't watch, like, a lot of movies, so I don't know, like, a lot of the situation, but I do know they are, like, very overprotective of their franchises, even though they don't always make very good quality movies. Oh well, whatever. Yeah, the Sonic fandom? The fan art? Yeah, the Sonic fandom is kind of crazy, and it's a really weird to see some of the stuff that goes on in the Sonic fandom, because the fan art or the weird obsession with making OCs or doing strange stuff. Also, I've seen some pretty crazy arguments break out over that franchise. Okay. Anyway, I think I'm ready to call it. I was only planning to do another short stream like I've been doing before. I don't have it in me to do a long stream today, so we'll be doing just the normal 200. I'm done now. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all have a great day or night. I'll be back on the 31st again. I'm taking a day off tomorrow and gonna come back and probably stream some in the morning on the 31st and then stream again when it gets closer to New Year's striking. So, yeah, anyway, see you guys later. Take care. Thanks for watching.